Champions League, Real Madrid taking on Manchester City in the knockout round playoffs. There's also 3 other games going on as well. One of them has reached full time already. That's Borussia Dortmund against Sporting, and Borussia having a goalless draw against Sporting, but had a 3-0 win in the first leg, so they will advance into the round of 16. 12 minutes in at Villa Park in the Premier League, Aston Villa and Liverpool goalless. We'll also keep an eye on Luton and Plymouth Argyle in the Champions League, as well as Tilbury travelling to Sporting Bengal in Isthmian North. Buckhurst Hill and Clacton facing off in the Essex Senior League, as well as Basildon Town v Burnham Ramblers and Hutton against Enfield Borough in the National League. As I say, do get in touch with us, 81333 by text or 080032133 on WhatsApp. Start those messages off with Essex. Messages on X at BBC Essex Sport. Give us a call 0800 111 40 41, or give us an email essex.sport@bbc.co.uk. Couple of minutes away then from kickoff at Cressing Road, so let's waste no more time on all frequencies, and it's all focus on the Iron. Can they build on that sensational win over Forest Green Rovers as Wealdstone with a new manager come to town? This is on all frequencies. Let's head over to our commentary team of April Smith and Peter Morris here on BBC Essex Sport. It is 17 minutes to 8.
BBC Essex Sport.
Yes, good evening from Cressing Road. Southend United and Colchester United are all tucked up in bed after out in the cold last night. That means this evening it's all about the bottom end of the National League. Not that far below Southend United in the table in the big scheme of things. Braintree Town at the moment definitely the number 3 team in Essex. For part of this season they were even above Southend United, albeit for only 20 minutes or so, and they are out on the pitch in front of us now in what is a real dog-eat-dog game at the bottom of the National League. Wealdstone are just under the relegation line. Braintree are above it by 5 points. A win tonight will give a really decent bit of daylight between them and the dreaded drop. As the two teams both salute their fans in front of us. If you don't know Cressing Road, then it's a good old-fashioned non-league ground. Either side there are low corrugated iron roof stands. At either end, an open terrace. There are 4 floodlights down the side of each side, 4 real sports pitch type floodlights, not big football ground type floodlights. And away to our right, the Wealdstone fans in what is a segregated game tonight. They aren't always in the National League, but the signal for us is that there is a tiny little garden gate in front of us at the beginning of the stand. That is the segregation, which everyone's completely ignoring and just walking through. Away to our right, those Wealdstone fans do have a bar that's been installed this year. It's the Quag End. It's known as the Quag Arms. It's by the Keith Flint mural to our right. There's a burger bar at each end. There's a bar towards our left which is underneath the terrace, which is pretty full of the Braintree Town fans. Normally at home games, when there isn't segregation, they'll start at the other end, but they're starting down the end with the bar. So Braintree in their home kit tonight, which is a very bright orange. It's proper garish if you haven't seen it before, with a single white faded stripe down the left-hand side of the chest, dark blue shorts and orange socks. It really is a natty get-up. Wealdstone are in their home kit, which is essentially a blue shirt, white shorts and blue socks. The temperature is actually not as bad as it was earlier, but there is a real moisture in the air. It looks like drizzle, but it's not. It's hanging in the air, the moisture. In front of the floodlights, they all have got a weird poetic glow in front of them. It's a real wintry scene at a non-league ground in mid-January, and this is mid-February even, and this is two of the real scrappers at the bottom of the National League going for it. We'll get into commentary and I'll bring in April Smith alongside me, the manager of White Ensign and also a coach at Leyton Orient, who have done brilliantly since she joined them. Good result for them at Wrexham last night. But we're about to kick off here. Wealdstone kicking from right to left as we look, so towards the home fans, and there is the starting whistle. Wealdstone then playing it back into the defence, and as you expect, fanning out and playing a long ball down the left-hand side, which Braintree will just pull back towards their keeper, Henry Gray. We'll go through the team lineup in a moment or so, but April, just setting this game up, what is the exciting thing about this game for you? You're looking at this and thinking, what's this about?
This is proper football for me. It's cold, both teams really scrapping. They know the importance of of the game. So, both teams want to come here and win. They both want to play, and they've both got something to play for, which is really nice.
There was singing to your right as you started to speak then, wasn't there? Wealdstone fans are in full voice. Wealdstone, whatever. I'm from London, I say Wealdstone. Matt Robinson on the ball, just chipping it forward for Jermaine Francis to go for the line. Francis with the cross into the middle. Lisby slides in underneath, but is shouldered off it by two defenders. Wealdstone clear down their left-hand side. Try and break, they don't. A little interchange of passes comes to nothing, and Francis picks up and switches play to the left-hand side. Francis Clark and Lisby along there. Lisby with a chance to run at the corner of the area. He's taken on his man. He's got into the area, across the face of goal, and that's cleared away for corner, throw-in, or kept in. It's going to be a throw-in to Braintree Town. As they set up for that, I'll tell you the lineup then. It is Henry Gray, the Ipswich loanee, in goal for Braintree. Left to right across the back, Aidan Francis Clark, Jamal Fifield, Louis Annesley and Jacob Pinnington. Two holding midfielders of James Vennings and Matt Robinson. And then the wide midfielders up front, Kyra Lisby on the left, Tom Blackwell on the right, Jermaine Francis in the middle, supporting the lone striker, John Akinde. From the throw-in, it's still Braintree putting Wealdstone very much on the back foot in this open minute or so, trying to just tickle it through in short passing down their left-hand side. They're not managing to do so, but each time that Wealdstone get a foot in and clear it into the midfield, Braintree are coming straight back at them. As a home side, April, this is exactly what you want in the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, you just want to try and get on the ball and dominate yourself. The thing that I like particularly about this team, probably the last 3 or 4 games, they do everything really early. Can you get the ball into the attacking third early? Can you get into the box early? And there's not people waiting. They want to be on the front foot. Tom Blackwell pressing the fullback. That's what I want to see, especially in the first 5-10 minutes of a game. Yeah,
that was an iffy moment. Just as you were talking, the keeper clears it. Tom Blackwell comes in right across the back of his player, gets a touch, but it can only go back for a goal kick. The Wealdstone lineup then, they've got 2 changes to the side which impressively won at Yeovil at the weekend. The Dutch winger Boulderwine on the right hand side has been dropped, which is the surprise. Dom Hutchinson comes in his place. So it's Luke Gunter at the back, who is on loan from Spurs. He's only been there a couple of weeks. A back 3 of Josh Grant and Conor McAvoy, either side of Adrian Mariappa, who is a very, very experienced in the Premier League with Crystal Palace and Watford over the years. The 4 across the midfield, I'm going to call it a 4. Alex Dyer and Craig Eastman in the middle. Craig Eastman, formerly of the parish of Colchester United, of course, for a few years in the mid-2010s. Then the wide players, Anthony Georgiou and Dom Hutchinson. Back to them in a minute. The 2 advanced midfielders, Max Kretschmar, last season's top scorer, and Mika Obiero, and then Alex Reid, part 2 of his loan this season from Oldham Athletic as lone striker up front. So as I said, I'll come back to those 2 wide players. We're calling it a 3-4-2-1. Actually, the 4, those 2 wide players, they can be up front, they can be at the back. The main thing is that box in the middle. A square is the starting position, but a square can become any shape magically, can't it, April?
Yeah, we've got ruboids, we've got diamonds. They can be anything really. But in the first opening minutes, it's really good. We were talking about it pre-game actually, about how for Jermaine Francis that could be a nice little area to try and exploit, because they should give him space, and it'll be difficult to know which one is actually going to pick him up. Yeah, whether it's a square, a ruboid or a parallelogram or whatever, there's always a gap in the middle. Yeah, always a gap in the middle, so I'd expect him to pick up some really good areas, particularly between the lines. When attacking. Wealdstone are starting to play football now. A little 1-2 down the right hand side. Hutchinson with a cross into the centre. That's a chance on goal. Off the line by Annesley. It wasn't a shot on goal, it was a cross from the right hand side which bobbled about in the 6-yard box. Alex Reid was in there and got sort of half a thigh on it, and it bounced up in front of the line. I'm not sure it even would have crossed with its own momentum, but Louis Annesley was back there to give it a hike away into the midfield area, and Braintree come forward down the right hand side. I wouldn't call that a chance on goal, just a wiggle in front of goal. A melee. A light melee. A sprinkling of a melee. Henry Gray has got the ball back now because as Braintree try to move forward, no way through there. They're not afraid to go back to the keeper these days as well, so they'll do a sortie down the right hand side. Then if it's not on, they'll start
moving it backwards all the way to the keeper if necessary, which is a different to earlier on in the year where they go for bust down either side and quite often lose possession. Jermaine Francis has got Blackwell on the overlap down the right hand side, and Jacob Pinnington, the right back, in a very advanced position, turns in towards the area, across the edge of the area to Matt Robinson, who thumps it into the back of the net. Robinson's second goal of the season, carbon copy of his first, a blaster from the edge of the area. It's Braintree 1, Wealdstone 0.
Yeah, it's a great goal. The build-up play was exactly what we were talking about. So Jermaine Francis has peeled off his player just on the right-hand side, and he's found space inside that square. He's played across to Pinnington. He's gone past his man, and he's driven it straight across the edge of the box. He's in acres of space just to hit it home. It was a great strike.
And was it his left foot again, possibly? He's right-footed. And he's scored 2 absolute thumpers this season. The first one was with his left. I'll get confirmation. I think that was with his left as well.
I think it was. So the way he was standing square to the goal, as the ball rolled across him, the only way really you can hit it is with your left to get any good punch behind it.
Oh, and a fab whoop from my left as that went in from the social media manager Scott here at Braintree, who's absolute orange and blue through and through. So Wealdstone to restart us. The time on that, I've got about 6 minutes thereabouts.
Good start.
That has got an air of comfort about it. I think earlier on in this season, when these two met, there was an air of it was about passion, who wanted it more, and Wealdstone won on that part, on that point. But here, Braintree look a little bit more together. The first shot of the game comes in, I didn't even commentate it because it was from outside of the area, and I think that's ended up in the car park.
I hope they haven't hit my car. I'm not far from that stand, actually.
Are you manager of White Ensign? You know better than to park your car beyond the end of a pitch at any non-league game.
True.
I think it was offside anyway, was it? By the way, Henry Gray is juggling the ball on the edge of the area. No, it's back to the edge of the 6-yard box for the goal kick. Both teams then form up in that centre circle area. They know exactly where he's going to plop it into. Now that is the sort of congestion that I look at and think that's like watching the under-9s. They're all in one position in the middle, but actually they're toying there. They're creating gaps elsewhere. Yeah,
and actually I think Braintree are going to have a lot of success playing off the second balls. So actually tonight it's not necessarily about winning the first, but can they then exploit those spaces and win those second balls? If they just need to be quick on everything and react to everything. So it's not necessarily winning everything up one end, but it's how you react to the second.
And I should add, with respect to under-9 sides, because there's some darn good ones out there. It's Wealdstone on the ball now, playing it with a through ball, and it's 1-on-1 with the keeper. Henry Gray comes a long way out. It's absolutely taken out by the Wealdstone player. The referee is walking over. Now, the keeper is on the floor and rolling about, as you would expect. Louis Annesley goes over just to check he's okay. I'm very pleased to see the defenders going over to check the keeper first, rather than to go and call for a red card or yellow card first instead. The referee has come across to check that the keeper's okay as well. Surrounded by most of the players, certainly most of the defenders. Louis Annesley, defender for Braintree, now walking across to the assistant referee, and I think is asking for a little bit more. The referee, though, is going to pull the player across, and I'm just keeping my eye over it because it's right at the distance and right in front of the burger bar in the corner of the ground. The card is out. I am not sure what colour it's going to be. It's a yellow. What do you think of that? It was dramatic.
I'm not sure how. I mean, it looked quite bad from here. I don't think he actually caught him, luckily. I'd probably say it's careless, not reckless, which is what typically deems a yellow card. So it's only when you're out of complete control, typically, that would be a red. But I mean, thankfully, Louis Annesley got done for pace there. He just got too tight to his man. So it's the best sort of outcome that could have happened.
My gut reaction, trying not to be tribal about it, was that he was second to the ball. The keeper came across the front of him. He stretched, and I felt he was out of control, which technically you're in a red there, but I'm not sure how much Henry Gray hung himself in front waiting for that boot to come through him.
Yeah.
He's absolutely fine now. He's back on his feet. We're back in play with Wealdstone playing it across their back line. They're trying to bring in the fullback on the left hand side, Anthony Giorgio. as he plays into Alex Dyer in the middle. Alex Dyer and Jermaine Francis face off. We've got both sets of fans either side of us actually here. There's some seats with Wealdstone fans to our right and with Braintree to our left, so there'll be a mix of reactions in the background as we speak. Jermaine Francis tries a little bit of trickery to get the ball through over the halfway line. It doesn't come off. He rolls over, then a Wealdstone player rolls over. Both sets of fans shout get up at each other's players. I think that yellow card for the tackle on Henry Gray means that everyone has found that that's a bit of a green light to roll about or kick each other.
Yeah, you always like to test the ref on how far you can push it.
The free kick has gone Wealdstone's way. Anthony Giorgio, the left wing back, nearly back by the halfway line on the left hand side. He tries to get the ball all the way to the edge of the area, but doesn't quite get the power on it. It drops a bit short, and the Braintree line can clear that out towards the right touch line instead, where there are two orange shirts there who are just holding off the ball, and as Lisby goes down underneath the floodlight across from us, he just takes a little shove from behind and will take that as a free kick just to take the pressure off, and Braintree will slowly wander up the field and move the area of play back into the Wealdstone half off the end of this Henry Gray free kick.
Yeah, they're not going to be in any rush to take this, albeit they want to try and go and push on to get a second goal, but they've looked lively. They just have to make sure that they can keep doing what got them into that position in the first place.
Now, elsewhere, Dagenham and Redbridge are now 1-0 down at Eastleigh. As a result of that, Braintree Town are up to 16th in the table. They've leapfrogged both Dagenham and Woking as it stands, as Alex Reid shoots across the Braintree goal from a long distance. I think that it was played diagonally to him running down the left field. It was one of those super goals where you hit it first time across the keeper top corner, but he dragged it. Yeah,
he done really well to peel off the fullback, but if he'd have taken another touch probably across him, try and commit the goalkeeper. Yeah, I mean, it sounds easy in principle, but
yes. The other games tonight, and so Woking are the other side, who started just above Braintree and now are just below them in the table. They are 0-0 in their game with Solihull Moors, and elsewhere is FC Halifax Town, Rochdale 0, and both of them are up the table and up north, so we're not so bothered. Here it is Braintree Town 1, Wealdstone 0, and everything going well for Braintree at the moment. Could have gone even better for them had Alex Reid, the main goal threat for Wealdstone, been sent off after that challenge on Henry Gray, the Braintree keeper. But Iron come forward down the left-hand side. Kyrell Lisby is having another go at the full-back. This time didn't quite get past him, but Dom Hutchinson is certainly getting a workout in the right-back position for Wealdstone from Lisby, using his speed and quick turn. Again, it's hit down the left-hand side. Jermaine Francis on the overlap now. Gets past the defence. He's had to go wide to pick up the ball, so he's almost out by the left corner flag now. Going to need some support from behind. There are two waiting in the middle if they can contrive a cross into the middle. And as it's played to Lisby, who rolls the defender just in front of Francis, but in doing so rolled him slightly before the ball had got to him, and so the offside flag goes on this near side. But that's Kyrell Lisby's game. It is right on the edge, isn't it?
Yeah, and he always wants to be on the last. I mean, I would hate to be a fullback marking him, because he always wants to try and go beyond. Can you get in a foot race? Can you take me on? I want you to be 1v1 versus me.
And the fact that the two wide attacking midfielders are quite often offside, more often than the number 9 with a 14 shirt, albeit John Akinde up front, that just shows how that centre forward play is working.
Yeah, and they like to stretch teams, so not only are they stretching them deep back towards their own goal, but they're also then stretching them wide, so then that gives that freedom and space to Akinde in the middle. 1-0
to the Iron at Cressing Road here on BBC Essex, as Luke Gunter hits the long goal kick downfield. He's one of the January loans that have come in for Wealdstone. He's from Tottenham Hotspur. He's also played for the England under-21s in his time. Another of them in the defence is Conor McAvoy, who's come in from Fulham, albeit it's his second loan at Wealdstone, so he knows the team well. We're in one of those loose midfield areas at the moment where tackles continue to go in rather heartily from both sides. Francis Clark adds a tackle in. He's not got his hair tied up tonight, so it's flowing all over the place and wheels in the light as he wheels in warrior-like to put in a thigh-high tackle, but a safe one. Play continues, and the Wealdstone defence clear up between themselves. Mariappa out to the right-hand side. Mariappa's got longer hair than he used to have as well. And Josh Grant to his left is that back three for Wealdstone. So from the back, they try and move up the right-hand side. Obiero is out there, the right of their midfielders up front. Trying a little play 1-2s with Dom Hutchinson on the overlap. Eastman in support. Hutchinson down the wing. He's got a cross over the area, and that was right towards the head of Alex Reid. But Henry Gray with a tip to put it beyond him. In comes the cross from the left-hand side instead now. That comes in from Giorgio, is hit away by Pennington, the right back. That was a cracking cross, and Gray had to dive to tip that away from Reid's head.
Yeah, he read the danger really well. It was just off his line, probably 2 or 3 yards, just to be able to then leap to cut that pass out.
From the throw-in, the cross isn't so great. Jamal Fifield clears that away for Braintree. Only way for a corner from the left-hand side. Alex Reid does look impressive. He looked amazing the first half of the season, and you just wonder why. He went back to Oldham in January, played 3 games, and then they said, off you go to Wealdstone again.
Yeah, sometimes there's a multitude of reasons why. There might other people, there might be competition, particularly for his space, and he might just be happy down there. He might want to play here, and he gets on well with everyone because, you know, they are people too before they're players.
I was thinking contracts, that who else is in both teams, formations. I hadn't actually thought of he might actually be happy here.
Yeah, people often forget that they are people before they're players.
In come the corner, it's tight towards the keeper. Francis Clark is just in front of Henry Gray, gets a header away. The second ball comes in, loose in the area now. Little bit of bagatelle. Oh, and a turn and a shot from Mika Obiero, which is nowhere near the goal. That's one when you've got your back, you think to the goal, you turn 180 degrees and hit it, and realise you actually had your back to the burger stand.
Yeah, and it almost goes out for a throw.
Yeah, you mind those burgers. There's no guard in front of that window. Actually, there's a guard this side of the corner flag, to be honest. I'll take that back. Anyway, that's your burger news. The score remains Braintree 1, Wealdstone 0, and after result of the season on Saturday, that could be surpassed today, not because of the calibre of the opposition, but because of what it means. To be up in 16th place, that, I don't think off the top of my head, is a position Braintree have ended a game in all season, although they have been up to 15th during games and as it stands tables. This is looking good. It's looking even better as Dagenham and Redbridge go 2-0 down on the south coast down at Eastleigh. However, Woking have taken the lead at home to Solihull Moors, and that means that it's now Woking's turn to overtake both Dagenham and Braintree. So as it stands, in 16th now it's Woking, 17th Braintree, 18th Dagenham and Redbridge. This is going to be nip and tuck all night, looking at the table just as much as looking at the game itself, which has stopped for the moment because there is a Wealdstone player down. It's Max Kretschmar, who is the left of the 3 up front. He has played centre forward. He was their top scorer last season, and he's walking away from that looking a little bit punch drunk. One of those where you just need a minute.
Yeah, normally when you come up and you challenge, you.
We're just watching the free kick come in. Oh, that was so bad that it bounced through everybody and was caught by Hutchinson on the right hand side, who hits it all the way back across the field. And then it comes back in again from the left.
The referee's fallen over.
And the referee falls over as well. Aston Villa 0, Liverpool 1 is the latest from the Premier League. Still 1-0 to Braintree against Wealdstone Heroes. Another cross comes in to Reid. Oh, and as he gets a header on it, heads it down, but didn't get any power, and the ball bounces up for Henry Gray to clutch out of the air before it can possibly bounce just underneath the crossbar. That was another cracking cross from the right-hand side, and if Reid had caught that better, that was a clear chance.
Yeah, he is a threat, and he just didn't. He almost like he shut his eyes before it got there, because he just needed to make a good connection and then go back across the goal, and that would have certainly beat Gray in goal. So he just didn't catch it, and he had to head it down into the floor in the end.
In fact, since Braintree's goal, we haven't had a chance on the Wealdstone goal since then, and we've had 2 half chances really on the Braintree goal. So I'm going to say it's 2 chances to Wealdstone so far and 1 to Braintree, albeit Braintree are 1-0 up. We've got a goal kick at our left-hand side now. Henry Gray, the New Zealander, doing his usual swagger. I don't know if you've seen Henry Gray before. There's a swagger on that bloke, isn't there?
I think most goalkeepers do have a swagger.
He's got the mouth to go with it. And I'll tell you what, when you act like that, you need to be able to perform to match it. And so far, in his days at Braintree Town, he absolutely has. Got in the National League Team of the Week last week. Well deserved. Jermaine Francis turns round 3 sides on Alex Dyer, just leans in as he does so, and the free kick goes Wealdstone's way. A mix of emotions around us for that. April, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I just think he used his body really well. He just got himself in between the ball and the player.
And Wealdstone play it fast and play it through the middle of the field for once. They're tending to go down their right. Most of the players on their right, Braintree's left in terms of actually getting towards the opposition penalty area, but always watch the open space on this left side where Giorgio is the left wing back for Wealdstone, playing a little 1-2 with Josh Grant. No way through, so back across the line to Adrian Mariappa, the middle of the 3. Alex Dyer is back there as the deep midfielder to help them finally get a ball through into the middle to Alex Reid. Alex Reid is off towards the corner flag and has won himself a throw in about 10 yards short of the corner flag. Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 0 is the latest from the Bernabeu. The latest from Cressing Road, 1-0 to the Iron, albeit the sound coming from a right-hand side from the Clag end is the Wealdstone fans who know that their team is very, very much still in this one. This is a very, very important game for both sides given the positions in the table, which we will be keeping an eye on throughout the evening too. Wealdstone pushing through the middle of the field. Great tackle, says April, as Dom Hutchinson tries to get past Robinson, goes down. Robinson comes away with the ball over the halfway line. He's closed down himself, so has to turn back, and Braintree will just take a moment to get everyone where they want them. James Veddings stands on the ball for a moment. Alex Dyer has stayed down as Veddings switches right to left. Braintree aren't going to stop play while the player is down. And as soon as I say that, Jamal Fifield, who had spotted Dyer down on this near side, whacks that out of play towards the left-hand side to let Alex Dyer get a little bit of attention. Alex Dyer, not the old Alex Dyer of Watford days, who might have crossed with Adrian Mariappa at some point, I'm not quite sure. Maybe 5 or 6 years between them. So he's down. It's a special credit to the physio coming on in shorts on such a cold night. And the Braintree players, meanwhile, all go away for a drinks break as we're midway through the first half. Midway through the first half, then 1-0 to the Iron. Does that feel justified, April?
Well, they've certainly had, well, I say good chances. They created the first 10 minutes. They came out. They pressed really well. They played in pockets. They found spaces. But since that goal, they haven't really produced much. It's all been Wealdstone, really, and they have had produced half chances. So they just need to get back to being on the ball a bit more. Can they get 1v1 in wide areas, because that's where they tend to punish teams.
So Alex Dyer is back on his feet. It'll take a moment for everyone to get back from the water break. Around us, literally, you can see people look at their watches and think, no, it's not near enough to half time yet, although is anything going to happen? Can I get to the loo in the back by the time it's going to happen? And you might hear people get back into seats in about 20 seconds time, I would think, and they will beat it going back into play. Both teams wandering slowly into the middle. If you're 1-0 up at home, this is what you need. Everything slowing down. Well, 1-0 is always really difficult. I'd always want to try and get a... Sorry. That was a sorry. From the throw-in. Right, Jamal Fifield puts the ball out. Wealdstone throw it in. And instead of a back pass, it's a thumped pass over the keeper that went only a few yards wide of the right of the goal.
Very strange. Very strange. Very
had that bent slightly to the left, we would have had one of those absolute moments of pandemonium out of nothing.
Yeah, but sorry, just going back to 1-0. 1-0 is just not enough nowadays. You need 2 or 3 goal cushions. So I wouldn't want to sit in. I'd want to go and get the next goal.
We're out for a throw-in now. We will get football back underway in a moment. So just to update you on where we are in the table, then Wealdstone remain in 21st, so that's the top of the relegation places. Dagenham and Redbridge now in 18th, Braintree in 17th, Woking in 16th, because Woking and Braintree are both winning and Dagenham and Redbridge losing have slipped below them. We're into play now. John Akinde back to goal, plays it out to Tom Blackwell. Blackwell turns into the area, he's crossed 2, crossed 3, can't get it onto his foot to shoot. Braintree still managed to get feet in there from Jermaine Francis, stopping Wealdstone from clearing. He gets the ball back out towards Akinde, just inside. We're out by the corner flag now. Finally, Wealdstone get the ball away, and Fifield will play that safely into touch. And that was amazing sudden disco dancing from Tom Blackwell. He took it past 3 players, but just couldn't get it onto his foot to shoot it.
Yeah, and then Wealdstone just crowded the ball out in the 6-yard box.
Oh, they're giving the ball away badly. Matt Robinson plays it back out to Blackwell. This is the chance for the Iron to push forward again. Blackwell has really got the bit between his teeth now. Tries to take on his player, does so. Doesn't quite come off, but the ball bounces back out to James Vennings, who's out there on the right to help him. Little intricate short play between them and the right back, Piddington. This is how the goal started a few minutes ago. Piddington into the area, takes the shot across the keeper, and the keeper turns it round the post. Exact same build-up, but instead of crossing, Piddington goes himself. That was creeping just inside the far post, and the keeper did well to get down and palm it.
Yeah, and he hit it with real venom. As soon as he got in, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. He dribbled in, took one touch, took it inside the 18-yard box, had another touch, didn't even look up, and he just hit it as hard as he could, and it's forced a corner for Braintree.
Well, since the stoppage and it all slowed down again, it's got excited again. Left-hand side, it's Vennings, I think, rather than Blackwell out there in the gloom. It's not the best floodlights for the corners here.
Yeah, it's Vennings.
It is Vennings, left arm in the air. Puts it towards the near post. It's missed by the first defender, headed away by the second towards the edge of the area. Wealdstone aren't going to get away though. Blackwell presses, gets the ball back to the disco dancing. He's got to the byline. He's being pushed wide, and he's won himself a corner on the right-hand side. Confirm it is a corner. The assistant wasn't sure. The fans around us say it was a terrible decision. I'm on the referee's side. That looked like a corner to me.
It did look like a corner. He done really well.
Blackwell himself will stay out on this right-hand side to take it. So this will be an outswinger. He is causing them absolute terror down this near side. He won't for the moment though, because he's out taking the corner. So Braintree have got 5 players well beyond the far side of the 6-yard box. The ball does go deep and falls just too shallow for them, and keeper Gunter can come out, pluck that one from the air, look up and see whether he can hit it away straight. It wasn't quite on for Alex Reid, so he waits for a moment and then bowls it out to Hutchinson, who's away down the right hand side. He's got Obiero offering himself just inside, instead hits a cross well over the top of Alex Reid. On the other side, Giorgio tries to cross it back in, but Robinson is there, or Vennings rather, in front, who gets a foot in, and we're back into the midfield area. That's 3 or 4 times that Hutchinson has put a huge looping cross over from the right hand side that's ended up with his opposite number, Giorgio, on the left hand side, having to put it back across.
Yeah, they are. When they move from side to side, Wealdstone, they are using those wingers as extra players, so that's where they're creating their overloads against the fullbacks for Braintree.
And so far, Alex Reid is a little bit piggy in the middle, watching it go over his head, although it did find his head once and would have a second time had Henry Gray not managed to dive out, see the danger, and tip the ball from just ahead of his head. All more pressing from Braintree. Wealdstone give the ball away again in the final third. Blackwell with a side footer down the line to Jermaine Francis. I think he just moved back on side and hadn't quite got his momentum going the right way to chase onto that.
Yeah, and I think also the pitch doesn't help. So when you're, at the moment the pitches are very sticky. They cut up, and it's really hard to turn quickly and get any kind of grip in.
It is one of those sticky nights, isn't it? I'm sure give it another half hour or so, if we touch any of the metal surfaces around here, there'll be that slight eekiness about it. Meanwhile, it's Wealdstone coming forward down the left-hand side. Max Kretschmar to Obiero. Obiero's got the cross in towards the far post, and there's a header on target. Henry Gray is straight in his breadbasket, and he just falls down on top of the ball, so no real danger there. But a ripple of applause from the away fans for a chance on goal, technically, for the home fans for seeing it off.
Yeah, I think both teams want to get. They're going to get goals by getting the ball in early and playing early against each other. The press seems to be working really well for Braintree so far.
It is. Every time I look down, because Wealdstone are in a safe position in their final third, I look back up again, and Tom Blackwell or someone has just run in and got the ball. On this occasion, it's Lisby who's trying to turn the full-back Hutchinson. He's turned him one way, then the other. There is help from Conor McAvoy just inside the right of the 3 defenders, who clears downfield, and Braintree will just tidy that all the way back to Henry Gray, the Kiwi Ipswich loanee, who's not going to hang about with the ball. He sees runners, so bangs it down through the middle of the pitch. Lisby is on the end of it, gets a couple of touches, tangles with Dom Hutchinson, and goes down looking for a decision, doesn't get one, and Wealdstone build through the middle. Craig Eastman As I mentioned, former Colchester United player. In the centre of the field alongside Alex Dyer. The two of them aren't really managing to take control of that midfield. You expect them as the deep two midfielders to be looking to create their own space and control where that ball is going, but I think at the beginning of the game you mentioned there was a gap between them, and Jermaine Francis is having a right laugh in there.
Yeah, he is, and that's what that box formation will do.
Blackwell again presses and wins the ball. He's having a cracking game, is Tom Blackwell. He's reached the corner of the area, onto his left foot, gets a shot in which is deflected, takes the sting out of the shot, so it just trickles through harmlessly to Lucas Gunter in the Wealdstone goal. But that is now maybe 4 times, even 5, that Blackwell has spotted an intercept, got in there, rolled a player, and then turned the defender inside and out and got something away at the end of it.
Yeah, Blackwell's done really well so far. I think he's just, every time the fullback gets the ball, that's his trigger to go and press, and it's working at the moment.
A moment ago I was looking for my Craig Eastman stat. 68 appearances and 7 goals for Colchester United. There you go, it's worth the research. Pinnington with a long ball right to left, and that's to Lisby. Shot across the keeper, great save. There's a second attempt that can come in to Jermaine Francis. It's off the post, cleared away at the third attempt by Wealdstone. John Akinde keeps things in play on the left-hand side. Braintree have still got Wealdstone absolutely back on the ropes at the moment. Louis Annesley takes a shot from distance, hits Jermaine Francis's backside, but bounces back into Braintree possession again. Wealdstone aren't getting a toe on this. This time Pinnington, he gets to the byline and just overran it for a goal kick. But a little 30 seconds or so where Wealdstone all over the place, and in the middle of that, Jermaine Francis hitting the post. Yeah,
really unlucky to hit the post. I think he just didn't catch it clean. As it's come across him, it's just sort of bobbled, and it's taken any kind of momentum off the ball. But the second phase of that, all they've been doing all night, Braintree, to get them so well, is playing quick and getting balls in early, and then suddenly they want to have 3 or 4 touches in and around the edge of the 18-yard box.
There's no old-fashioned if in doubt, kick it out.
No, apparently not. Not anymore.
Well, that's what happens when you get a UEFA Pro licensed coach who likes to play out from the back, exactly like Man City or Real Madrid does. Aston Villa 2, Liverpool 1 is the latest from the Premier League on the subject of big teams. Here, Wealdstone have lost it again, and Braintree have got them pinned back again. They are keeping Alex Reid on his own up front of Wealdstone, so they do have an outlet, but he is looking rather isolated out there as the iron come down the right hand side with the right back Pinnington. He's got Vennings spending a lot of time on this right hand side with him, and between the 3 of them, Pinnington, Vennings and Blackwell, there's a neat little triangle that led to the goal, led to a shot across goal, and I think partly led to that attempt on the post as well. It is working well down the right hand side, but also just as well down the left with Lisby. Here come Wealdstone then. Finally, they're into the Braintree half. Giorgio up against Blackwell. Has to turn and check back towards the Wealdstone defence, who've moved up to the halfway line. And this is a rare movement up to the halfway line for them in the last 5-10 minutes or so. Braintree drop back into their own half. And this is the new Braintree. They drop back and they are all spaced out and they know where they want to be. Alex Reid up against Jamal Fifield, picks up the ball in the central area, does turn and sort of lean onto him from his right hand side. It was a high tariff shot, but actually that was a halfway decent shot from Reid, not too far wide.
Yeah, and he's had a couple of opportunities like that, albeit they've gone 4 or 5 yards wide of the goal, but he likes to get the ball and he likes to hit it really early, so both centre halves need to be really careful about that, because he will if you give him any kind of space, he doesn't need a lot of space to operate in, albeit he's lucky that there hasn't been one on target yet.
And 2 of those shots, they're that quick that before you can actually describe it, it's already gone out. So I'm sounding unexcited because I know it's not gone in. But they're decent shots. They're not skews and skies. They're more or less on target and doing exactly what he wants. Jermaine Francis has got beyond the defence again down the other end. Plays just behind Lisby, who's got into the 6-yard box in the middle, who, as he ran in, almost tried to do a sort of a cartoon spin as the ball went just across the back of him. That, out of nothing, was again pressing and a quick transition. Yeah, the pressing's really working. But I think he anticipated the ball to be played again before it got to him, and that's why he was further towards the goal than what he probably should have been. Wealdstone cut wide open for a second there. They're still very much in it at Wealdstone, but in terms of actually having a plan, it feels like the Braintree plan is working. And they are 1-0 up here against Wealdstone in the National League on BBC Essex. We are roughly 36 minutes into this game. There's a Braintree player down and people shouting. What happened there, April?
Just a high tackle. As he cleared the ball, he's just caught him after. It's just a little bit late. I'm not sure if the ref will give a yellow card. I'd be surprised if he doesn't.
He's putting the player across. If it'll be a second yellow card for Wealdstone players, if it is a yellow card.
He might just want to have a word with him, just ask him to settle down a little bit.
Well, there's a walk of shame happening from the player who moved furthest away. Not 100% sure who that is from this distance.
I think is it Dyer?
I thought it, yeah. We'll keep an eye. Turn around and show us your back man. Yes, it is Alex Dyer. Yes. He did that little trick, did he? The fact that we're saying, is that Dyer, because he wasn't in his normal position. He purposely walked as far away from the referee as he could to make it as difficult as possible to give a yellow card out. We've got another small stoppage here, which I think is nothing more than a drinks break. Which in turn I think is nothing more than Braintree just adding a few seconds. We're getting towards that period, the last 5-10 minutes of the first half. You're 1-0 up at home in an important game against one of your potential relegation rivals, so the game management begins a little bit at this point.
Yeah, it does. And you want to... He's going to book him for time wasting. That's probably not the game plan. Game plan management.
Yep. We need to allow capacity for time wasting later on in the game, and Henry Gray, the Braintree keeper, does go into the book there. The referee spotting it as easily as we had. His long clearance into the area, though, that is loose. Wealdstone again failed to clear. Lisby has had to turn wide, plays it across the Vennings edge of the area, can't get the shot away. Wealdstone clear away for a Braintree throw-in, left side, almost back by the halfway line here, but it is so easily that nothing, literally nothing, suddenly becomes a Braintree toe-in and chaos in the Wealdstone penalty area.
Yeah, Wealdstone are so slow to react to anything. They're taking too many touches in and around their own area, and Braintree are just capitalising on that, and they're pressing everything.
Can you just put Lisby away down the left-hand side? In comes the cross to Francis. Oh, gets the shot away. It was going in. The keeper had dived, would have gone over the top of him, but defenders throwing themselves in front, blocking the shot. And it goes away for another Braintree throw-in, left-hand side. Francis Clark, the left-back, to take it. And these are shots that defenders are having to throw themselves across. The tactics have gone from the defending, haven't they? It's basically just someone gets something in there.
Yeah, it's your most instinctive type of defending. Can you get anything in front of it?
Oh, Francis Clark goes flying over a tackle in the referee plays advantage. Lisby has come away with the ball. Francis Clark has got up again. It looked dramatic, but we'll see if anything. It looked like the Wealdstone player was off his feet. In comes the cross, drops the edge of the area. Potential handball, shout from my left, as Kyrell Lisby takes a shot, and it did bounce off the side of the Wealdstone player. Still back into Braintree possession, midway in the Wealdstone half. Robinson slide rules it through, looking for Blackwell on a diagonal run towards the corner of the area. Cut out, hit long by Wealdstone for Alex Reid, looking for the first time for a bit of help, and he's got it from Mika Obiero. Obiero going left as Reid wheels away to the right. But Pinnington gets a toe in underneath Obiero, can't stop it going away for a throw in then. That's the first time actually that Reid's had a friend.
Yeah, and actually he done really well just to hold the ball up, just enough time, just at Obiero. And as soon as Obiero got himself 5 yards, he really did open up, and he's quite pacey when he's on the ball.
They've always been a lively bunch of Wealdstone. They're still singing their team forward now. From that throw in, it came to nothing. It's a goal kick to Braintree, by the way. There's also singing away to our left hand end. I think the Braintree fans have been quiet for a little bit, but with the away fans singing, it's just poked them into life. So a nice little bit of atmosphere just round the ground as we get into this last 5-10 minutes or so, to keep warm as much as anything else. It's a proper winter's evening here with the black night pressing down upon us. And opposite, it's a very sort of, very intense feel with that massive wall of Lelandii behind the stand opposite, which sort of presses in on the pitch from the left-hand end. You get the feeling if you leave it for a couple of months, they'll take over the pitch, which itself is glowing in the winter light in front of us. As we get back into play then, Braintree 1, and the keeper
He's really
loses the
lucky
ball to
there.
John Akinde, slides in, gets the ball away, shoots it out to Jermaine Francis, it bounces back, could have gone anywhere, including the open goal just behind, and of all the places it went, it bounced straight back into the arms of the keeper. Lucky boy.
Yeah, the keeper had to be really brave on the first one. I think he's hurt himself. He's given himself a bit of a dead leg, I think.
That's not going to be one on this show reel. 1-0 to Braintree here on BBC Essex against Wealdstone, and Wealdstone's defence are still trying to look up. They're trying to play it calmly out from the back, and each time they do, there's an orange shirt comes flying in to steal it off them. Again, they try and push forward out their right hand side. Doesn't come to anything, but Wealdstone do get the throw in. Nearly up at the halfway line. Hutchinson with the ball down the line, bounces over the top of Alex Reid, who's out on the right hand side helping out, which means no one in the middle for a moment or so. The ball is loose in midfield. Jermaine Francis goes sliding in underneath his man, nothing given. It's enough for Braintree to be able to clear the ball all the way down the field. There's no one down there though except for Luke Gunter in the Wealdstone goal, and they will play it patiently from the back with no press for a moment. They're quite enjoying playing it patiently between themselves.
Yeah, John Akinde, he's just walking a little bit gingerly off the back of that tackle, so he's just giving himself a few minutes breather.
Little 1-2 down the right, including Max Kretschmar, who's swapped wings for the moment. Doesn't come off for Wealdstone. Cleared towards the centre circle, but the away side do keep hold of the ball. Mariappa, and in front of him, Alex Dyer squeaks it out to the left-hand side to Anthony Giorgio. Giorgio does the little run round one side and ball round the other side of Tom Blackwell, and I thought he went through Blackwell nicely there, but as Blackwell goes down, that is adjudged to have been a push through Blackwell, and Braintree get the free kick.
Just a little bit too physical. He's just grabbed both of his shoulders and just tried to run through him as opposed to run round him.
I think Tom's a little bit lucky there. The other scores so far in the National League then: Eastleigh 2, Dagenham and Redbridge 0, and Woking 1, Solihull Moors 0. That means that in order in the division, it's now Woking in 16th, Braintree 17th, Dagenham and Redbridge in 18th. So Braintree and Woking both overtaking Daggers. And the other game in the National League is FC Halifax Town 0, Rochdale 0. Long clearance from Braintree that Blackwell and Francis are scrapping away for, right by the opposite corner flag. Giorgio goes down, nothing given. Vennings is there to pick up the pieces for Braintree and flick it in towards the corner of the area. It's a little bit high for the likes of Jermaine Francis to jump up against the huge Josh Grant. And Grant heads it forward, and a chance for Obiero, the right side on the left now. Obiero and Kretschmar, I think, have swapped wings for quite a while now, haven't they? Out to Kretschmar on the right hand side. Does the little lollipops, as they used to say, gets a cross in with a couple of deflections, puts it just beyond Alex Reid yet again in the middle, and it goes out of play for a throw in on the left hand side. I think it's a Wealdstone throw in, or
no, it's a Braintree throw. Yeah,
but another one into the middle there, not far away from the forehead of Alex Reid.
Yeah, I think the problem is they're just hitting it so hard across and fast that if you get anything on it, it could go anywhere. But if you get anything on it, it could go anywhere.
Yes, I think yes, absolutely.
So anywhere in a good way, anywhere in a bad way.
And here's the danger, because you can probably tell as we're talking here that Wealdstone aren't very good tonight. But doesn't matter if they've got Alex Reid up front, they're getting the balls into him. Doesn't matter what's happening in the rest of the field. They have got a goal scoring threat, and they are coming forward down the right hand side now. Hutchinson tries to play a little 1-2 with Obiero, doesn't come off, is pushed back into the midfield area, and Wealdstone try and build again. Dyer gives that away rather badly. Lisby picks it up off him, slides it down the left hand side, looking for the run of John Akinde, who was out on the diagonal towards the touchline. Didn't quite get it right. Throw in for Wealdstone. They don't get that right. The ball goes out of play again for a throw in for Braintree Town. The National League, as they say, you come to a National League game, you will see half a dozen Premier League moments. You'd also see half a dozen moments that I think you would be shaking your head at the Essex Senior League, wouldn't you?
No comment.
We're back in play here. Wealdstone with a little 1-2. They've only got one runner on it. Guess who? It's Reid, who chases half the length of the pitch, and Henry Gray, the keeper for Braintree, just allows him to come all the way down and thumps it away down the right hand side, out of play for another throw in. I think this last minute or so the ball has spent more time off the pitch than on it.
Yeah, and I think Braintree will be happy with that. Like she said, just a bit of game management into the last 5 minutes of the half.
The fourth officials board is up there. There will be at least a couple of minutes because of the couple of short injuries that we've had. Nobody's had to leave the field, thankfully. And it's still loose in the midfield area. Neither side really getting any pattern of play together for the moment. 3 minutes of added time, a minimum of 3 minutes is indicated opposite. Braintree Town 1, Wealdstone 0. And in terms of table, the most important thing as well, not just Braintree moving up, is that Wealdstone, from a Braintree point of view, remain below the relegation line, and in fact, as it stands, would be 8 points behind Braintree, which, after the win against FGR at the weekends, that's just happy things to be saying. But there is a long way to go in this game as yet. We're into added time at the end of this first half. Aidan Francis Clark with a throw-in on the halfway line. Yes, the ball is out of play yet again. And Braintree are happy just to see this out as a bit of a messy, loose few minutes and not let Wealdstone get something in it late. As Lisby tries to turn his man, just a little bundle into the defender. Wealdstone get the free kick. And Hutchinson puts that down with a bit of intent. He's going to hit that fast for Alex Reid to run onto. Jamal Fifield saw it coming, but that's a little bit of urgency from Wealdstone that we hadn't seen till now. In comes the secondary cross. That's just beyond the on-running players coming through for Wealdstone in the middle. And it's yet again, it's Giorgio out on the left-hand side who ends up picking up the cross from the right. The left winger comes up there, tries to play it in again. That is charged down. It's a throw-in for Wealdstone. They're going to try and have a little dig at the Braintree goal in these last few seconds of this first half. Josh Grant plays it quickly in to Dyer. They're forced back for the moment. You can tell by the reaction, if you could hear that to my right-hand side. Go on, get it forward, they're saying, at the away fans. They're going to go down the right-hand side. Kretschmar is still over there. Hutchinson is as well. Still no way. They haven't got over the halfway line. Finally, they do as Dyer sprays it out to the left-hand side where Giorgio has moved up into space. Early cross in. That's just in front of Kretschmar running in through the middle of the penalty area. Not far away from a goal shooting chance. Cleared away by Braintree. Comes in again from the right hand side. It's congested. The keeper can't get to it. The ball's bouncing around on the edge of the area. Finally a half volley from Alex Dyer on the edge of the area. Goes over the top of everybody. Goal and the terrace. All in all, there's a Braintree player down who's going to just wait another moment or so. I think that's Jermaine Francis, who's just going to take his time getting back on his feet. He doesn't even need to time waste because we don't have a ball for the moment. But that, I think, was Wealdstone's last puff of the game, of the first half, rather.
Yeah, definitely of the first half. It's the second time Jermaine Francis has gone down. I think he's got a little bit of cramp. So I think it's the second time. So I think the half-time is sort of coming at the right time for Braintree.
Which wouldn't be that much. A month ago, any player looking slightly with a pull, you think, what's going to happen? But because we've got Ryan Clampin on the bench, we've got George Langston on the bench, that means that if Francis did have to go off, then Piddington could easily just move out on the right hand side. That's an easy one. You've also got Marnie Marshall Miranda on the bench as well. Wealdstone come forward again here. They are going to have another go actually to Giorgio, left hand side of the area, shapes to shoot, does, hits the first defender, comes back to Giorgio, didn't have time to steady himself, thumps it into the terrace, and that is the last action of this first half. Braintree go in a 0-0 up, and the goal from Matt Robinson, carbon copy of his first goal for the club. Ball played in from the right hand side, neat interchanging from Piddington, Francis and Vennings out on there. Slide ruled across the edge of the area and Robinson thumps it into the top corner. A real power one. Piddington had a shot from a similar position himself. Francis has hit the post. At the other end, Wealdstone have looked dangerous at times. Alex Reid in the middle, their target man, has had 2 or 3 chances and got close to the ball a couple of times. His heading ability is still a threat. Other than that though, Braintree to me look comfortable. You'll wrap up with the first half, April?
Good first half from Braintree. I think they came out really fast, had a really good game plan, got themselves into dangerous areas, particularly in wide areas, and then played the ball across. I think there were spells of sort of a 10-minute spell in the middle where Wealdstone had the better chances, and they are creating overloads, particularly in the wide areas against the fullbacks, and that's where they've had a lot of their success. So if they can't go direct into Reid and get one-on-one with the centre half, then they'll play out wide and they'll create a 2v1. So Tom Blackwell's having to do a lot of work, particularly backwards at the moment in those 10-minute spells. But when they're going forward, they're pressing, they're forcing so many errors for Wealdstone. They just don't look good on the ball at all. So
and for me, pick any player to be man of the match, but Tom Blackwell for me, you mentioned the defensive work there, but in terms of turning it over on the press, there's 5 or 6 times that he has turned it from nothing and also managed to get his way into the area, turn his man and get something away at least.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see when it does come back out, if they're not shots on goal and it gets parried or cleared, they're not clearing it very far, Wealdstone. So you then have your 2 midfielders in Vennings and Robinson that are saying, all right, well we'll have a go because we're high enough and we'll try and pin them in. So it's nice to see more people getting involved and not just saying, here, you're the front 3, you're the front 4, you can just go and do it.
So Braintree on top, they look the better side across all of the field, but Wealdstone's Alex Reid still looks dangerous at the other end. One might not be enough. BBC Essex at Cressing Road at half time. It's Braintree Town 1, Wealdstone 0.
Discover more about Essex on BBC Sounds. And all you need is a free BBC account and the free BBC Sounds app. To sign up, type in your email address, choose a password, and don't forget to enter your Essex postcode. You'll now have all the wonderful content BBC Sounds has to offer, plus some great Essex stuff too, from local history.
The notorious feature about this door is that it had some skin attached to it.
And Essex news.
My initial reaction is just shock and horror, like everybody else in the community.
Discover more about Essex on BBC Sounds.
BBC Essex Sport.
22 minutes to 9 on BBC Essex Sport with me, Warren Muggleton, and that's put a bit of pep into our evening, hasn't it, here in Essex. Braintree Town with that 1-0 lead over Wealdstone. Matt Robinson scoring 18 minutes into the contest. His first goal since he scored the winner against Solihull Moors back in the middle of January. But there's been lots of other sports going on as well. Let me run you through some of those other scores. In the National League, Eastleigh leading Dagenham and Redbridge by 2-0. Those goals coming in the first 13 minutes of the contest, and Woking leading Solihull Moors by 1-0, and Ward scoring after 18. So it does mean that in the table, as Peter Morris has been saying, Woking sitting in 16th on 38 points, Braintree on 17th on 37, that's 8 points above Wealdstone, who are in that last relegation spot, and Dagenham and Redbridge on 34 points sitting in 18th place. So all very tight in that scrap to get away from the relegation zone. One match of interest as well in the National League is Halifax against Rochdale. It's 7th versus 9th. Sandwiched in between them are Southend United. They climbed up to 8th following their 2-1 win over Aldershot Town last night at Roots Hall. And it's goalless between Halifax and Rochdale, which Southend I think would probably take. It means Halifax Town, they are using up their game in hand they have over the Blues, and right now they sit 6 points ahead of Kevin Mayer's team in 7th place in that last playoff spot. And Rochdale on 45, 1 point behind Southend, but they do have 4 games in hand. This is due to their run in the FA Trophy and having games called off due to the cold weather that we saw in January. So lots of going on in the National League, going right the way up to the Champions League. It is not a good night for Manchester City in Spain. They are 2-0 down to Real Madrid in the second leg of the knockout round playoffs. Kylian Mbappe with both goals for Los Blancos, and it gives them a 5-2 aggregate lead. So Manchester City needing 3 goals to get themselves back into that contest. But stranger things have happened in football. That one's certainly not over yet. Aston Villa and Liverpool already underway for the second half. They kicked off at 7:30, and going into the break, Aston Villa leading Liverpool by 2-1. Yuri Tielemans and Ollie Watkins responding to Mohamed Salah's goal, that coming after half an hour. And now they're 5 minutes into the second half. That is still the scoreline at Villa Park. No goals between Luton Town and Plymouth Argyle. Plymouth looking for a first double against Luton in 18 years. Luton have lost their last 4 midweek games in a row. At the moment, both of them playing on form. The Hatters goalless with Plymouth Argyle. In the Isthmian League North Division, Sporting Bengal United hosting Tilbury, and at the break they have a 1-0 lead over Tilbury, who are trying to put some pressure on those playoff spots. If things go their way, they could climb up to 7th and overtake Whittam Town. They would have 2 games in hand over Tilbury, but it is Tilbury that are a goal to nil down against second from bottom Sporting Bengal United. So not looking good for the men from Tilbury at the moment. There's Essex Senior League action and Furlough None First Division South action as well. But make sure you stay tuned. We'll give you those full-time scores later on. Just give me a quick hint. Yeah, as we say, Buckhurst Hill taking on FC Clacton, then the Furlough None First Division South, Basildon Town taking on Burnham Ramblers, and Hutton taking on Enfield Borough. It would be great to hear from you wherever you are. Maybe you're at Cressing Road, maybe you're at another game, maybe you're listening to us from home. You can send us a text 81333 or a WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start those messages with Essex. You can give us a call on 0800 111 4041. You can send us a message on X at BBC Essex Sport, or you can email us essex.sport@bbc.co.uk. Warren Muggleson here with you in the studio in the warm, but Braintree's players certainly keeping those fans warm around them on this cold February night as they lead Wealdstone by a goal to 0. Stepping momentarily away from the football, big question: have you subscribed to our BBC Essex Snooker podcast Framed yet? Have you? Yes. If you have, yes, well done. If no, not. No, what have you been doing? We have had some brilliant guests working across the sport, from singing cameramen to those working behind the scenes to improve the image of the game. Shabnan Yunus Jul regularly chats to those at the top of the sport. Just last week she was joined by Masters winner Sean Murphy, and this week she's speaking to the newest member of the World Snooker Tour. Irish teenager Leon Crowley has earned his tour card after winning the WSF World Junior Championship, which he says is a dream come true.
To be honest, I'm over the moon. I've been at the game 10 years. It's my dream to become a professional snooker player, and I've done it. So yeah, I feel so happy that I achieved this.
So tell us then, 10 years ago you said, is that the first time you picked up a cue?
Yeah, I was 8 years of age.
Wow. Okay, so how did you come to start playing snooker then? Let's get back to the beginning. It's not that long ago because you're only 18, but how did you start then and why?
My dad used to own a snooker club back in Cork, where I come from, and I just started playing snooker and I became obsessed with it, really. I started going to tournaments at maybe 10 or 11. I have 11 national All-Irelands in back of my country. So that's how I really got to pick up the cues from my dad owning a club.
Okay, so was your dad a big snooker fan then at the start? Is that why he bought a club?
Yeah, he was a huge fan of snooker, yeah.
And tell us a bit about his club in Cork then. How long has it been going for? What's it like?
It's not going now, but it was going for maybe 10 years. It was a very good club. You know, good tables, good atmosphere. Yeah, but it's not open now, but I practice in a different club in Shandon Street in Cork, which is a very good club.
The fact that you have got onto the tour in quite a short space of time, really. I mean, you've not been playing for that long. You must be really proud of that fact. How much has it taken to get to this point?
It's a lot of hard work, you know. I've been up in Mark Allen's camp up in Belfast in Northern Ireland, and that's brought on my game so much, you know, playing with him and Robbie and, you know, Jordan Brown and young Joe that's coming through. He's very good as well. So I think up there that helped me a lot, you know, better playing with better players.
I mean, yeah, it's incredible to be playing with somebody like Mark Allen and Jordan Brown. I mean, they're people that you must have watched when you was younger and looked up to.
Yeah.
And yeah, tell me about those inspirations then, the players that have inspired you.
You know, you just by looking at them, you learn a lot of things on the table, what they do. You know what they're thinking, and just watching them play, it can help your game so much.
Who was it in particular then that you really looked up to and enjoyed watching?
Judd Trump.
Judd Trump, so he's your favourite?
He's my favourite, yes.
Yeah, and why Judd Trump in particular?
Just the way he goes around the table, the way he plays the game. I just something about him. I just like his overall game, attacking. His consistency as well is very good.
Leon Crowley speaking to Shabnan Yunus Jewel on the latest episode of Framed, which you can download and subscribe to on BBC Sounds now. At 8:45, we're waiting to hear for the players coming back onto the field at Cressing Road, with Braintree leading Wealdstone by 1-0. Just remind you, Matt Robinson getting that opener against Wealdstone, his first goal since he scored the winner against Solihull Moors back in the middle of January. But there have been plenty of chances for the Iron. They have been firing those shots into the Wealdstone penalty area. A few saves for the goalkeeper to make as well. Just the one goal. That goal came after 6 minutes, I should say, from the number 18, Matt Robinson. We had 3 minutes of added time, and the half-time whistle was blown about 10 minutes ago. So another 5 minutes or so before we can hand back over to Peter Morris and April Smith. Right now, still Real Madrid leading Manchester City by 2-0. 3-goal advantage on aggregate, 5-2. That score after Real Madrid took a 3-2 win over Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium. But as we get to the hour at Villa Park, Villa leading Liverpool by 2-1. And we mentioned in the National League, Eastleigh leading Dagenham and Redbridge by 2-0. Halifax and Rochdale goalless. Woking and Solihull Moors, 1 goal between them, that going to the home team. And in the Championship, Luton and Plymouth Argyle all square at 0-0. Of course, this means with Braintree Town leading at the moment, 8 points clear of the relegation zone. Wealdstone in 21st out of 24. 4 teams going down from the 5th tier of English football. Filed just below them, we had the news today that they had departed ways with Kevin Phillips after they suffered a 2-1 defeat against Boston United in that yesterday's clashes. Don't forget, of course, Southend and Colchester were also in action yesterday. Southend beating Aldershot Town by 2-1. Colchester United having a 1-1 draw against Notts County, who are pushing for promotion from League 2. All of that reaction, we played some of it on the show earlier, but you can listen to that full reaction on BBC Sounds. Just Google BBC Essex Sport and you'll be able to find it there. Time right now on BBC Essex Sport with me, Warren Muggleton, is 12 minutes to 9.
BBC Essex Sport.
Warren Muggleton with you here on BBC Essex Sport, where the Iron have certainly taken control at the moment against Wealdstone.
Piddington, the right back, in a very advanced position, turns in towards the area, across the edge of the area to Matt Robinson, who thumps it into the back of the net. Robinson's second goal of the season, carbon copy of his first, a blaster from the edge of the area. It's Braintree 1, Wealdstone 0. Cross comes in to Reed, and as he gets a header on it, heads it down, but didn't get any power, and the ball bounces up for Henry Gray to clutch out of the air before it can possibly bounce just underneath the crossbar. That was another cracking cross from the right-hand side, and if Reed had caught that better, that was a clear chance. Little intricate short play between them and the right back, Piddington. This is how the goal started a few minutes ago. Piddington into the area, takes the shot across the keeper, and the keeper turns it round the post. Exact same build-up, but instead of crossing, Piddington goes himself. That was creeping just inside the far post, and the keeper did well to get down and palm it.
Yeah.
So the Iron then with that 1-goal lead against Wealdstone, thanks to Matt Robinson scoring in the opening stages. Can they keep that lead and get first consecutive home league wins since October and go 8 points clear of the relegation zone? Second half coming up now on all frequencies on BBC Essex Sport. Let's join our commentary team down at Cressing Road of April Smith and Peter Morris.
Piddington with a long ball right to left, and that's to Lisby. Shot across the keeper, great save. There's a second attempt that can come in to Jermaine Francis. It's off the post, cleared away at the third attempt by Wealdstone.
BBC Essex Sport.
And perfect timing back here at Cressing Road. The referee's whistle just blows for the second half. Braintree Town 1, Wealdstone 0 in the National League on BBC Essex. And in the second half, Braintree will kick from right to left as we are looking at it. That's towards the clubhouse end where the home fans are on the open terrace. At the other end, it's an open terrace in this segregated game, which has 118 Wealdstone fans in it out of a crowd of 888 tonight. Henry Gray is down that end of the field in the Braintree goal, who, while the rest of the team came on and did the little bunny hops around the plastic discs just to get themselves warmed up, he wandered right down the middle of the field with his towel, like a white evening scarf around him. He just needed a panatella in one hand and a glass of wine in the other. Just wandering down as if he owns the place, and given his form in the last couple of weeks, he's probably earned that as well. In the team of the league last week, Tom Blackwell has also had that accolade, and he for me was man of the match in the first half, and one of the providers in an intricate bit of play down the right hand side had ended in a cross which Matt Robinson thumped home. Here come Braintree for the first sortie of the second half. It's Francis way down the right hand side, gets a cross in, that is bundled away by Wealdstone back towards the halfway line. I'll take you through the teams again in a moment or so, but Braintree are just going to go right to left. Alongside me, April Smith, manager at White Ensign and coach at Leyton Orient. This is what you want. 1-0 up. You want to see your team on the front foot from the starting whistle, second half.
Yeah, they just need to start the second half exactly how they did in the first half. Can they get an early goal? Can they settle? Wilson they've got to come out and do something different to get themselves back into the game. So I'd expect Braintree to want to dominate. Can they go and get an early goal in the second half?
Yeah, and I think there's something different might be getting Obiero up front alongside Alex Reid, who was the lone striker up front with two either side, which can work, or he can be isolated. He was isolated, so I think they might be looking at more of a front two in this second half. Just to take you through the Braintree side then, it's the same as last week. Aidan Francis Clark, Jamal Fifield, Louis Annesley and Jacob Pinnington are the defence. Henry Gray the goalkeeper. In the midfield, two deeper players, James Vennings and Matt Robinson, and then the three attacking players, Jermaine Francis in the middle, and either side of him, Kyrell Lisby and Tom Blackwell. Then John Akinde is the lone man up front. For Wealdstone, they have the formation in the first half certainly was three at the back: Josh Grant, Adrian Mariappa and Conor McAvoy in front of the Spurs loney goalkeeper Luke Gunter. Four across midfield: Alex Dyer and Craig Eastman in the middle, Dom Hutchinson and Anthony Giorgio, two wide players. Then Kretschmar and Obiero were a box in the midfield with Alex Reid on his own up front, but we'll just keep an eye on how that has changed a little bit in this second half, we think, because as you say, April, Wilson have got to try something a little bit different. Alex Reid, though, has looked dangerous for them, and I'm rather feeling that 1-0 is not enough. Braintree look by far the better side, but Wealdstone still look dangerous at times. Yeah,
they do, and I think if they are going to get Obiero on the ball more, that is going to be a threat for them. He's really good on the ball and he travels well.
Pattern of the first half continues, though, with an intercept from Braintree. They turn it quickly. Matt Robinson hits the ball down the right-hand side. Blackwell on his bike away down that right-hand side, but there's just too much pace on that ball, and Blackwell can't stop it going out of touch at the end of the pitch in front of the home fans, where, as is often the case, there's a slightly smokier atmosphere at the start of a second half. It's the burger bars in the corners. Everyone's got their steaming coffees. Everyone's been out the back, well, those who still smoke, for a ciggy as well. So there's just that extra layer of smokiness around in what is already quite a misty feeling night due to the atmospherics. It's a cold night and quite a moist night, and that pitch is going to have a real sort of sticky, funny edge to it, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. I like to use the word claggy.
In general, or just pitches?
No, on pitches, just pitches. Yeah, so playing on it, White Ensign played on it last night, and it's just really heavy on your legs, and it gets really sticky, and it's hard to move the ball, and it just doesn't travel well.
It's looking more of a back four at the moment for me at Wealdstone, with Josh Grant and Alex Dyer sitting back in with them. Long ball through the middle for Alex Reid and Obiero to try and just tangle with Jamal Fifield. Fifield is still tangling with Obiero on the ground. The two of them are having a bit of a play wrestling match. That means there's a gap inside. Alex Reid's got it, turns, shoots, hits it into Jamal Fifield, who had just got up there. Braintree finally get away with it and hit it away downfield. The clearance is on, but just for a moment there, Jamal Fifield getting caught in one of those little play wrestling on the edge of your own area.
Yeah, and it was just really unnecessary. It's just, there's a game to play, the ball is still in play, just get up and get on with it.
It is. Vennings puts Blackwell again. It's not the best ball for him. He has to go all the way to the corner flag to pick it up and track back, where there is help from Pinnington, who's on a long run into the area, puts his head down, runs into the area, puts a bit of an aimless ball, which I think he was hoping was going to bounce around in that 6-yard box, but instead bounces away for a throw-in, but it's a Braintree throw-in.
Yeah, I also wonder, just keep looking at Jermaine Francis, it's the second time he was stretching the last 10 minutes of the first half. He's gone back in and he's just had to stretch again. I just wonder how long he's going to last in this second half before a sub's made.
From the throw-in, Pinnington tries to put a quick cross in, and that bounces off the backside of, I think that is Alex Dyer, back with Josh Grant. It feels more of a back four-ish to me, but I'll let you put your eye across it as they get into a position that they're not trying to defend from a deep throw-in, which of course they're all back in numbers anyway at this point. Braintree's try and work it down that right-hand side. They do so. Blackwell into the area. Oh, that's lovely. The little lay-off to the edge of the area. The shot comes in from Robinson rather. That goes back out towards the right-hand side. Braintree still in possession. Pinnington tries to turn inside his man. He's got help out there from Vennings as well, right out by the corner flag. In comes a cross, it's low to the near post. Francis has got hold of it, crosses it to the far post. De Kindy back across the face of goal. No one can actually get a shot away though, to the edge of the area. Matt Robinson, he's got 3 on him, pulls 3 defenders out of the area and to a Kindy left hand side into Lisby, who turns and gets a bit of contact on it, which was a sort of half a backwards shot which is cleared away. But as he went down, there was a pull and a big shout of penalty from the fans behind.
I think he slipped, to be honest, and I think if it had been given to Braintree as a neutral, I'd be annoyed if I was a Wealdstone fan. I'd be really hard done by.
Do you have that gut thing that I have, the stuff what the actual rules for a penalty or not? You just know.
Yeah, you do most of the time. Depends who's reffing.
Yeah, and that was and that wasn't. Francis Clark with a throw in then, and we're back underway. Oh, little 1-2 with Francis. Francis on the left hand side now. He's got all the way to the corner flag, but he's got a defender in close attendance who goes through him and puts him out, but in doing so puts the ball into touch for a corner, and Braintree take the corner. There was a bit of I'm not sure if the feet went through Francis, but certainly as the defender went underneath him, Francis got turned at a funny angle as he fell over. Yeah,
it's what I'd like to call it an industrial challenge. I'm not sure if that's a technical term, but it's what we use. So he just takes a lot of the man and the ball. So yeah, I think it was lucky that he caught more of the ball than the player there.
Hutchinson, the defender, who's had the run around from Lisby in the first half, and Francis at the start of the second half. That corner has gone in too shallow at the near post, but all the defence can head that away for another corner from this left hand side. No ball boys in the National League at most grounds at this level, so the players have to go and get the ball themselves, and Braintree slow and patient, which feels comfortable at 1-0 up, but there's a long way to go in this one. Sounds like a cracker at Villa Park. It's Villa 2, Liverpool 2 now in the Premier League. In comes this corner then. It's a deep one to the far post. Chips over by the keeper. Held but kept back in by Akinde. Almost to Robinson on the edge of the area, who's shaped up to bang it, but it didn't quite stand up for him. Wealdstone get a toe away and they break at pace over the left-hand side. It's Anthony Georgiou, their left winger. He is eventually pushed into too narrow area by Tom Blackwell and has to pass all the way into defence. Defence continue to be pressed by Jermaine Francis, and they've just gone backwards, and an encouraging looking break from Wealdstone ends up with their defenders on the edge of their own area. That sums up their night.
Yeah, it does. It's almost like he could have just kept going. Just keep going and see how much ground you can make up. But by that time he'd stopped, let Braintree get everyone to sit behind the ball, and then they've had to recycle it, and now they're Braintree are in a good position saying if they can turn over the ball, which they've been doing well, to then break in numbers.
The scores elsewhere in the National League remain the same. Eastleigh 2, Daggers 0, Woking 1, Solihull Moors 0. As a result of those, essentially Braintree and Woking have overtaken Daggers in the table as it stands. So Daggers down to 18th, Braintree up to 17th and Woking 16th. Further up the table, FC Halifax Town against Rochdale remains 0-0. That a playoff contender game. We're out of play here for the moment. Braintree are going to take their time with a series of throw-ins. They've managed to get some territory. It's up to nearly level with the edge of the penalty area, and just at the corner of the 3/4 length corrugated iron low stand on that side. In comes the throw in to Blackwell, who puts in a cross. It hits the first defender and is cleared away, but into Braintree possession. Yet again, like the first half, Wealdstone, even when they do get the ball, cannot clear. It's played again down the right-hand side, where Jermaine Francis makes a diagonal run towards the corner flag. He saw the ball coming through, but he saw it a little bit late. The ball was already going to go off the end of the pitch. Goal kick then to Luca Gunter rather, in the goal for Wealdstone, and Wealdstone will start to play it out from the back. Their back line, as we mentioned in the first half, they've had a couple of loanees. Conor McAvoy has come in as well from Fulham. They've also lost a couple of loanees. Their main bit of business, though, was Alex Reid, having finished his loan from Oldham, went back and played 3 games for Oldham, and then came back down to Wealdstone for this second half of the season. There's also a name on the bench that some people in Essex might recognise. He's been out for a while. Wealdstone coming forward here, and a dramatic dive which is worthy of an Oscar any day of the week for a penalty, and absolutely nothing given there. And Braintree clear away through the middle to Francis, to Lisby. No one up with him, but he's into the area, left hand side, goes to the byline, tries to get a cross in, wins a corner instead. The name I was going to mention who's come in on the bench, hasn't been playing for a while, Sam Ashford, who is of Chelmsford, Morden and Tiptree, Heybridge, Stansted, Whittam, Concord. His dad was also the Whittam and Bishop Stortford manager, one of those Essex footballing families that there are many of them about. Corner here for Braintree then, left hand side. James Vennings is walking very slowly across to take it. He's walking just fast enough to not get a yellow card for time wasting.
Yeah, the referee just prompted him just to get a little bit of a move on.
Still very early to be time wasting. There's only 1 goal in this, and we're only just a quarter hour or so into this second half. Vennings' corner is tight into the keeper, who has to thump it away off the line, and it goes out towards the right side, where Tom Blackwell can keep it in by the corner flag. He's got 2 players all over the back of him. He's got support though from Robinson, who thumps it back, tried to thump it back diagonally towards the goal, but didn't quite get the angle right, and it drops into the terrace about 5 or 10 yards behind the crossbar. Luca Gunter will wander around and pick that one out. But that's 2 corners that have come in from this left-hand side that they basically almost look like they're going to curl in.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's just putting too much on them, or the players are their starting position is too close to the corner taker.
Both times I thought that's too close to the keeper, but the keeper has got so many players around him that he couldn't actually catch it and was forced to flap it each time. Goal kick here for Gunter to take. He cleared the ball out. Braintree hit it back again off the end of the pitch. This will suit the iron down to the ground. It's a game that started off with the second half, both teams setting up a little bit like the first half, but Braintree just allowing the game to slow down and get the momentum and just get the passing out of it, and stop Wealdstone starting to build up any sort of steam. They go long to Wealdstone, with Josh Grant heading it up towards the head of Alex Reid. Back to goal, he knocks it back into the midfield, where Robinson and Alex Dyer tangle. Craig Eastman actually, rather than Alex Dyer. They're the 2 centre midfielders. And Robinson gets a decision, and in fact the referee is going to put across, I think, Adrian Mariappa from the Wealdstone defence. What is that about? Or is he having a word with him because he's captain?
Yeah, he's just having a word with him.
I think this is one of those almost rugby style where you call the captain across, he is the one who's going to have a conversation and say, hang on, is this how you're playing this, ref?
Yeah, and he says, you talk to him, I don't want to. In other words, he's your player, you talk to him.
At the end of all of that, it is a Braintree free kick on the edge of the centre circle, on the Braintree side of it. All the players are just the other side of the centre circle in the Wealdstone half. They're holding a very high line of Wealdstone, a good 10-15 yards outside the penalty area. They scuttle back as the ball goes over their heads, and with a little flick on from the defence, goes into touch for a Braintree throw in, right hand side, roundabout level with the edge of the penalty area. And Pennington looking for movement around him. There's plenty of movement. 2 very nippy, quick players, Francis and Blackwell, both moving for him. Blackwell back to Pennington, to Francis into the edge of the area. Francis tried to just get across the final defender and get a shot in. There was a foot in there and it didn't happen. Wealdstone get the ball away, but they are labouring their break. They've got it out to Tom Hutchinson, who was in space on the right-hand side, but he doesn't get on his bike, and Braintree cover across all lines down their own left-hand defensive side. That is a different Braintree to the first half of the season. They're already fanning back into positions as the break starts to build.
Yeah, and Wealdstone, they don't break with any kind of pace. So by the time they've had 3, 4, 5 touches, it gives Braintree time just to come back, recover, and just sit in their shape.
We're out of touch for a Wealdstone throw-in defensively, but rather than looking at that end of the pitch, I was just looking at their right wing back. They try and go upfield as much as possible, Dom Hutchinson and Alex Reid, the striker, and the two of them both shrugging their shoulders at each other. The communication has broken between the two of them, and they're just having that bit where you both have a little bit of a shout at each other, which I don't think coaches mind too much. It means they both care.
Yeah, but there's nothing you don't know which one's right on the pitch because you can't hear them most of the time.
Annesley drops it back to Henry Gray. That's not the best of clearances. It's going to drop right by the byline, and that surely go out of play. It does. Quite luckily for a Braintree throw-in. It bounced along the byline, and it could have come off any of the jumping midfielders' heads. Aidan Francis Clark will take this throw-in for Braintree, just inside the Braintree half. He's looking for movement down the line. Akinde is there. Lisby is back out on this left-hand side. Francis has been out there quite a bit in this second half. Both square into the middle for Tom Blackwell. Now, Blackwell tangles there. We'll go back to that in a second because Wealdstone take the free kick quickly. Way down the left-hand side. It's a chance for Giorgio to look up and get a cross into the areas, looking for the early first-time cross to the head of Alex Reid. That is Wealdstone's primary weapon. Drops short. Braintree kick it clear all the way down the field. April, Tom Blackwell he's quite light. He's one of the smaller players. He takes it round players, but that's about 3 or 4 times tonight where a free kick has gone against him, even though he's the one on the ball. I'm trying to work out what's he doing wrong.
The only way I can really describe it is very much like a chihuahua energy. So when you're nipping at ankles.
Reid down the left-hand side almost ran out of a track down the left-hand side of the penalty area. It was right at the byline and took a shot. And I think that would have actually crept in at a very, very oblique angle, but Henry Gray was at the near post and was right behind it, so no actual danger, but it's one for the stats. Wealdstone have a shot on goal in this second half. They also have a free kick on the left-hand side. Pennington tangling with Giorgio, wide player against wide player. There are 2 Braintree players, including one who's just decided that where his shoelace needs to be done up is just in front of the free kick being taken. James Vedding's doing a great impression of tying his shoelace. Finally steps back because we're not even formed up in the middle yet. So Wealdstone free kick, I would say midway between halfway line and goal, but right out by the left touch line. Braintree hold their offside line, edge of the area. They fall back into the gap between there and the keeper. In comes the ball. It drops through the wall and out towards the corner flag on the other side, the Wealdstone right. Mariappa is out there. He takes a little 1-2. Akinde is back defending and takes it off his toe. Tries to put Francis way ahead of him, but Mariappa is still there, as is Obiero. Obiero and Akinde. That's a good battle between the two of them, and eventually Obiero goes down with Akinde leaning into him. I think the shouts of off from around me are absolutely nothing. The referee is surrounded by Wealdstone players. Has everyone around me seen something I haven't here?
No, I think it's just really tussle. He was really physical, and he just kept nipping at him and nipping at him, and eventually it was just too much. He thought, I'm going to have to fall over to get a free kick here.
Sometimes it's great to just do a commentary that's completely tribal from one point of view. We try and keep these level, and that just didn't look like anything. It's a free kick because 2 players leant into each other as hard as possible, and Akinde was basically bigger.
Yeah.
But there is a point where you've lent in too hard. Now Obiero is limping as if his right ankle has been taken off.
Yeah, I think
he might have turned it a bit as he went down, possibly.
Yeah, he just rolled his ankle. So as the ball went over, all of his weight had just gone over. It's just rolled his ankle outwards. So yeah, they're a sore one.
Which is more. I'm going to stay with it. More about the way he went down. In comes the free kick. That's easily headed away by Vennings and Robinson, who are the first 2 midfielders helping out the defence. All the big guys have stayed up on the edge of the area for Wealdstone because it's going to come back in from distance right through the middle. Jamal Fifield steps back and then heads it out back into the midfield area. Attempted cross in from the right from Wealdstone, but Tom Blackwell gets a foot in and it bounces off his upraised sole all the way out towards the halfway line. There is a substitution board being readied, and I can see the little neon lights that something's happening over there, but I'm not sure from which bench yet. I think it's going to be the Braintree bench. But Wealdstone are in possession on their right hand side. Conor McAvoy, the Fulham loanee, plays a short ball up to Reid, who's back a long way deep to pick up. Fifield takes it off him though and hits the ball long down the left hand side for Jermaine Francis to run onto, but didn't quite clip it right, and the ball was always curling and bounces away into touch for a Wealdstone throw in their own half, taken quickly. I'm still looking, I think that's Shay Cooper who's running himself on the sideline for Braintree. Wealdstone though playing it across their back four. They're trying to do the patient build up, they're just not fast enough at it and keep getting caught out. On this occasion though, Braintree aren't going to press. I think the players on the field also know what's about to happen, so they're just waiting their time for this phase of play to exhaust itself before Braintree can make their change. Hit long over the halfway line. Fifield goes up against Reid. Reid falls down, nothing given. Cleared downfield. Jermaine Francis up against Josh Grant, the defender for Wealdstone. Grant was always going to hold him off, but the whistler's gone for offside against Francis anyway, and that gives the chance for the substitution to happen. So Shay Cooper for Kyrell Lisby. I'm just making sure there's not a second one hiding behind the fourth official. I think it's just the one, isn't it?
Yeah, just the one.
Good news from Hampshire. Eastleigh have scored a third against Dagenham and Redbridge. Eastleigh 3, Daggers 0. That means that Daggers are definitely going to be below Braintree by the end of the night, surely, even if Braintree don't hold on to this. The goal difference is swinging as well. It's a slow substitution. Now Lisby coming off. He certainly gave Hutchinson, the fullback, an absolute run for his money in the first half. We've not seen so much of Kyrell in the second half.
No, but I think that's come to their Wealdstone's change of shape slightly. So we'll see what Cooper has against him. And
also it's quite a regular one. I get the feeling they just say to Kyrell, go on, empty your tank, be as fast as you can, and they know you can't do that for 90 minutes. Wealdstone have another attack, comes down to nothing, and Shay Cooper gets his first touch of the game, which is to hold it in play on this near left hand side and play a little triangle with Francis Clark and Vennings, but the three of them just get caught mucking around, and Wealdstone push the ball forward where Reid has got behind his man. The flag is up. Reid then gets his shot away. Gray gets down, gets a palm to it and parries it round the post. But the offside flag had gone up anyway. That didn't look particularly offside to me.
I mean, it's a bit of a let-off really, because the three players were just so tight. The three Braintree players were just so tight playing in each other. One of them just needed to peel off because he had 10 yards behind him, and then that meant that the switch was on to go out and play the other side. So yeah, it's a little bit of a let-off. I mean, still a great save from Gray, but...
And another example that anywhere 30 yards of goal, Alex Reid gets just half a little window on his left foot. It's a quick shot.
Yeah, and that little bit, that half a yard that he was offside, if he steps back, that's now a corner. So he is trying to create.
A Wealdstone substitute is being readied. So it's Braintree 1, Wealdstone 0 here on BBC Essex. The Wealdstone substitution. So Harrison Sona on 4. Oh, we're all in suspenders waiting. Even the Tane announcer is. The fourth official is having to double check. We're still waiting. Oh, those little electronic balls aren't half as fun as the old just stick a board in the air with numbers on.
Coming off number 5, Alex Dyer.
Right, Alex Dyer is the man off. He was booked earlier on in the game, and Sona does play in the same position usually as a sort of a left side midfielder, so that looks pretty much like for like to me. In comes the throw in from Braintree then at the end of all of that, which bounces back out for another throw in. Braintree will be happy with this, just little bits of the game where it just all slows down. We're out for throw in after throw in after throw in. Just don't let Wealdstone get back into this one. Would like to see a second goal here, though.
Or just a bit more possession, a bit more controlled possession from them. Just take the next 5 minutes, just try and get on the ball a little bit, just slow down the pace of the game and just keep control. But at the moment, things are over here or they're going out. And like a fine example, they're 20 yards from goal, they try and play it out, and they've just kicked it out for a goal kick to Wealdstone.
It's when you see that sort of match of the day analysis of the big teams in the Premier League, and they will slow things down like this for 5 minutes, and just at a click of the fingers, they can just up the momentum and just accelerate away and catch people by surprise. I don't think Braintree are quite at that level, but at least they got half of it, the slowing the game down part of it. They've lost possession here on their right hand side, where there's a little bit of a push and shovey match. Alex Reid was the man who went down. He was out in the left hand side position. That will suit Wealdstone, because if he was out on the left, there was no one in the middle. He now takes up his position in the middle because there are two over the ball for this Wealdstone free kick. There's a right footer and a left footer. They're going to tease us on whether this will be an in or out swinger. It's out by the byline, left hand side. There are 5 Wealdstone players in and around just goal side of the penalty spot. Braintree is trying to hold a line just on the edge of their 6-yard box. A lot of pushing and shoving as this comes in high towards the far post. Gray goes into his own net. Is it a goal or not? It is! Direct, the ball comes in. It was dipping in just underneath the crossbar. Gray held it, fell down on the byline, got a bit of a shove as he went. A judge to go behind. Wealdstone equalised. Braintree 1, Wealdstone 1.
I feel a little bit sorry for him because the ball's gone in. He's taken a bit of a shove. He's off balance anyway, where he's jumped probably 4 or 5 yards in the air, and it's just gone over the line. I'm not sure it's fully gone over. I think, goal line technology is a thing, not at this level, but I'm not fully convinced that that's gone in. But it's gone in enough for the officials to think, let's go, game on. So it's completely different now. We kick off.
I also thought that Henry Gray was helped backwards a little bit there as he went up for it. There were players sort of giving him a helpful nudge towards his own goal. That feels like something wasn't right about that. But the referee was happy, the assistant was in line, so we can't complain. They were well positioned, both of them. And as we've been saying all game, here comes a chance for Braintree though, and nearly equalised, and they don't! Into Blackwell right hand side, across the face of goal. Keeper beaten. The offside flag had gone up anyway at the end of all of that. Braintree stung into action, but away to our right hand side it is now the Wealdstone fans singing. There was plenty of japes around us about Henry Gray going in with that ball after he was booked for time wasting earlier on in the game. The Wealdstone fans are in full voice now. We have a game on our hands. Braintree are going to have to up it a bit, because suddenly there is a pep in the step of the Wealdstone players that hasn't been there up until now whatsoever. They're playing it across their back line and eventually to Luca Gunter in the goalkeeper position. Immediately out into that back three. They're not mucking around. It's hit long down the right hand side. The chase is on. Obiero up against Annesley. Annesley forced all the way back to his own corner flag. Francis Clark is there helping him, and suddenly it is Wealdstone who are taking the ball off Braintree in the last third. Out on the right hand side, Max Kretschmar turns on to his left, crosses it from the right hand side. He's an inverted player now on this right hand side, having played the first half on the left. That is easily headed away by Braintree, but in doing so they give away a free kick, and it's going to come right back at them. Suddenly this game's absolutely turned on its head. Yeah, and it's about momentum. Wealdstone came out and they really did mean business. They knew they had to change something. They'd worked really hard and they'd got a free kick, albeit it was in a really dangerous area, but that came from doing what Braintree had done to them in the first half, and they just pressed them, and now they're attacking in numbers, and they're attacking in 3s and 4s, apart from leaving Alex on his own and just having Obiero in support. So they've now got 4 of them that are now pressing a back 4 of Braintree. There was no pressing in the first half that I particularly remember at all. Long free kick towards the edge of the area. It's got a couple of touches on. Aidan Francis Clark boots it out from the edge of the 6-yard box for Braintree. Cooper on the end of it. He's got no one up with him. Is going to have to check, turn back. But in doing so, this allows Braintree to try and play the ball out into the midfield area. But yet again, they now cannot get the ball in their own possession more than 2 touches out from clearing it. They're doing slightly better than Wealdstone were, but they're still just losing possession each time. Comes back again through the middle, the chase is on. Obiero is the one this time through the centre, but it's too hard, and all the way through to Henry Gray in the Braintree goal. 1-1 here then on BBC Essex at Cressing Road, and that is going to have an impact on the table as well. We'll take a look at that in just a second or so. Braintree they're going to remain in 17th at the moment, with Daggers still behind them because they are trailing 3-0 at Eastleigh. But the winner of the night so far is Woking, who've overtaken everybody, and they're up to 16th. They're 1-0 up currently in their game at home to Solihull Moors. Aidan Francis Clark with a throw in left-hand side for Braintree here, towards the corner of the area to Akinde, who is pushed from the back as he tries to control the ball and do a little bit of dainty foot control. Didn't quite manage to cut it back on his toe and loses it off the edge of the pitch. So throw in for Wealdstone instead, which Hutchinson plays down the line. A little couple of headers on. Bit of a head tennis moment. One of those ones where who's going to come out and get some play with this. Spread out by the new man Sonar out towards the left-hand side. Giorgio picks it up. He's got help from Sonar just inside him. He's made a bit of a difference since he's come on. He's more mobile in that area than Dyer was. More of an enforcer midfielder. 1-2 edge of the area, a shot past the keeper, and Wealdstone take the lead. Josh Grant, I think it is, the defender, who has come up into an advanced position. 1-2 edge of the area. Bit of a shinner shot, but it's enough to beat Gray at the far post. And in the space of 5 minutes, this game is upturned. It's Braintree 1, Wealdstone 2.
Yeah, Wealdstone have done really well. Their build-up play has been really good the last sort of 3 or 4 minutes. But Braintree, they're defending and they're so flat-footed. So, you know, Wealdstone, it's almost like the roles have completely reversed. So, first half, Wealdstone on their flat feet. They can't get the ball out. They can't make connections. They've played a neat 1-2 in and around the edge of the 18-yard box, and all Braintree players have just stood still, and they haven't picked up the runner that's gone through, and he's just slotted it bottom corner to go past Henry Gray.
Oh, it's been too comfortable an evening up until the last 10 minutes, and Braintree have been called out. The couple of times we've seen Wealdstone against Braintree early on in the season, they wanted it more. At April, you and I saw the Southend United game down there, where Southend again were the better team, but Wealdstone again wanted it and got their late goal.
Yeah, they did, and now it's about the best thing, you can't panic. So Braintree they haven't come out and played as well as they did in the first half, so they've got to do more. But one thing that they can't do is panic.
There isn't that long to go though. Only another chance as Wealdstone hit it down through the middle of the field. Reid chases. Annesley is the last man back, and he boots it back down the left-hand side of the field. We're over the half-hour mark in this second half. We're actually just under the half-hour mark, rather. There are more administrative notes happening on the far side. Wealdstone now are going to make their substitution. As they do so, the referee is having lengthy words with some of the players, including Craig Eastman in the midfield area. He and Jermaine Francis having a discussion, which is ending up with Craig Eastman trying to shake his hand and Francis saying, "Get out of it, I'm not having that." Meanwhile, there are also discussions between Louis Annesley and Mike Obiero on this near side. Obiero is the man being substituted, and it is now Wealdstone doing the time wasting. So Obiero going off. I didn't catch who was coming on there. Did you, April?
No, I was listening to Louis Annesley what they were doing, but Obiero tried to go off the other side to take longer, but he was saying no, you have to come off this side closest to us in the commentary area.
There are heated discussions between individual players, so it's not out of hand by any stretch. It's just discussions being having. We'll check that substitution in the moment. That Braintree also making a substitution. Ryan Clampin on for Tom Blackwell, and that means that Shea Cooper, having come in on the left for Kyrell Lisby, will now move out to the right to replace Tom Blackwell, and Ryan Clampin comes in on the left hand side as the advanced left midfielder. We know him as usually a left back, but we've got two full backs on the pitch. We're going to stick Ryan a bit further up on this side, And he's got those long legs that can get a bit of pace down this side. Cooper likes to run at men, whereas Clampin likes to run round them, I would say. Braintree having to clear away from the back again. Pennington with a long ball downfield. Jermaine Francis is going to just make a little bit of a mischief here and force the defenders to head it back to Luke Gunter in their own penalty area. Braintree 1, Wealdstone 2 on BBC Essex. And an absolute turnaround in this game in the last 10-15 minutes. It was one of those games that was losing its focus. Lots of balls out for throw-ins, slow substitutions, management by the home team. Suddenly there is a clear focus from both sets of fans. The away fans, the 118 who have made the trip here, all in fine voice, and the home fans with that intensity about them. Every face forward. There's no one at any of the coffee bars or anything. We are seeing this through because this is one of the important games of the season, because these are two teams fighting to get themselves away from those relegation places. Braintree with a throw in left hand side. Aidan Francis Clark with that big mop of hair bouncing around as he picks the ball out from the gutter in front of the stand here and looks for movement on the corner of the penalty area just in front of him. Finally gets it from Jermaine Francis. Francis holds off his attendant and plays it back out to the line to Francis Clark. Vennings is out there with him. Neither of them can work a way to get the ball past the three defenders out there. Means there's a lot of space in the middle if they can get the ball in quick. Instead it's gone out for another throw in to Braintree. And this is stuff you work on, isn't it? Throw-ins in advanced positions and triangles.
Yeah, any kind of set piece you work on, and a throw-in should be treated as that.
You know you're going to get several in the game.
Yeah.
And on this occasion, they've lost it. Wealdstone on the ball here with Kretschmar playing the quick ball through. We mentioned it was more of a two up front with Alex Reid and Obiero. So Obiero is off the field now. It's going to be interesting to see how they shape up. You can keep your eye on that as well, April, as we move forward. I'm still trying to work out who the Wealdstone defender who's come on is. We're both trying to crane round at this. I think we both think it's the same guy, and it's not. That's Craig Eastman, who's I'm sure he started without a beard and he's grown a beard as the game's gone on. Out of play again on this near side, so two Wealdstone throw-ins in a row. Comes out a third time, and everyone around us who are Wealdstone fans is unhappy because it's a Braintree throw-in this time. Francis Clark down the line, Akinde loses it. Braintree hit it back over the halfway line. Wealdstone player down there, was it Vennings or Akinde put a foot up? But it was just literally two players with foot up at the same time. One catches the leg rather than the ball, and the Wealdstone player will roll around for a good few minutes, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't actually think there was that. I don't think there was that much contact, to be fair. I think he's made a real meal of it. He just kills the game. Do that. Have a little word with him, and the momentum then swings in Wealdstone's favour.
Yellow card for James Vennings at the end of all of that as well. Well, if the killing the momentum was good for Braintree in the first half, it's good for Wealdstone in the second. In the Premier League, it's full time at Villa Park. That game was swung in both directions, both teams in the lead at one point or other, but it's finished 2-2 between Aston Villa and Liverpool. Meanwhile, at the Bernabeu, Pep Guardiola's season continues. They're 3-0 down Manchester City at Real Madrid. I'm sure Real Madrid fans are loving that. And here, Braintree are 2-1 down to Wealdstone and not loving it at the moment. Pennington goes down, loses the ball, and Wealdstone come forward again down the left-hand side. Hutchinson looking for the movement ahead of him of Max Kretschmar. Can't find him, but can find another throw-in for Wealdstone. They're over in the corner of the ground where nothing happens really. You've got the away end, the main stand that we're in, home end that's full at the other end, then the small Crossing Road stand which is normally sort of quarter full, and then there's a quarter bit in the corner of the ground where just nothing happens, and that's where the ball is at the moment. It's near the corner flag on the left side for Wealdstone, kicking left to right as we look. They play it short, they try and do an intricate little 2-3 play around the Braintree defenders, but it doesn't come off. Ansley comes away for Braintree. Matt Robinson inside him, and they switch through the middle and to the left side over the halfway line with Aidan Francis Clark. Ryan Clampin in that advanced left position, he's come on as sub, is out there to receive and play a 1-2, but as Francis Clark puts it back over the top of him, that's straight into Wealdstone possession, and it's Braintree having to defend again. Clampin has come back to help out with that defensive effort. Gets a toe in, back to Fifield. Fifield turns backwards to Henry Gray and says, go on, pump that one up. And he does, out towards the Braintree right, where Pinnington can collect in a little bit of space. He's got Robinson just inside him, is pressed very quickly and has to play it back to Annesley, the other centre-back, who is also in an advanced position. They're trying to get men forward here. Long diagonal ball to Ryan Clampin. That was a lovely ball. Clampin's had to turn inside. He's on his wrong foot, going from left to right. He's forced eventually to pass it all the way out to the right-hand side to Shea Cooper. So the Pinnington-Cooper Vennings triangle starts to operate again. It's Vennings out on the touchline. He's got Cooper on the overlap. Pinnington just behind him, exchanging passes. It's not happening, so eventually they go back to the halfway line and look to hit it down the left-hand side now. Matt Robinson is going to start out the left-hand triangle onto Clampin. Clampin just holds off a player. He's got Francis Clark on the outside of him. The two exchanged by the byline, but neither can get it in towards the edge of the area. Little 1-2 with Robinson. That's too fiddly. Too many touches. Oh, does Wealdstone break through the middle of the field? Vennings is the one who's put the foot in. He's booked already. It's going to be a second red. And as Craig Eastman rolls about in front of him, I don't actually think he can have any argument. Not the worst tackle in the world, but Wealdstone had managed to clear the ball away on the break, and the referee given no option.
Yeah, I actually don't think he knew too much about him. He wasn't even facing the ball, so as he's come through, he's stuck a leg out, and he's caught him, and you can't deny he's caught him, but he's just made, he's clever, and he's just made the most of it.
Yeah, there's no malice in that whatsoever.
No.
The ball's there, you've gone for it, you haven't tried to take your man. Yeah. I don't even think that Redmond even tried to leave his foot there or anything. I think Eastman, yeah. Sorry. I don't think he even left his foot there or anything. It just was one that you look at and you go, it's a technical yellow card, yeah. Second yellow. Yeah. Can't argue.
But actually, the last sort of 3 or 4 minutes, Braintree were actually they were getting some passes together and they were making advanced positions and looking more comfortable to an opportunity. So now they're going down to 10 men, changes the picture of the game once again.
So at the end of this, Braintree, from being 1-0 up and looking comfortable, are now 2-1 down and down to 10 men on BBC Essex here at Cressing Road. The free kick is long towards the far corner flag, the left side corner flag, as Wealdstone attack. They've managed to just keep it in play, and in the darkness over there, I've contrived to get in towards the edge of the area. Oh, it's an early shot towards the near post, which Henry Gray collects, and in one movement, cricket bowls it over his arm out to the left to Ryan Clampin, and Clampin sprints away down the left hand side. He's round the fullback. He's got to the byline. He's got the cross in, and it is actually intercepted and away for... No, it hasn't gone away for a throw-in. Somehow the ball magically stays in along the byline, and Wealdstone will try and break down their right-hand side. But that's the first time that we've seen Ryan Clampin pick up the ball and just use absolute speed, nothing more, to get away down that byline and nearly manage to get round.
Yeah, he has looked lively since he's come on, and he does give a different dimension to what Lisby did. He's a bit more combination play, not so one-on-one driven, but I just think Braintree are going to get another opportunity here.
It's going to start, if it is, with Matt Robinson crossing the halfway line and again using Ryan Clampin on this near side. He's gone for the early cross, and that's fallen to Cooper at the far side. He hits it back into the centre of the field. Annesley can't quite get underneath it. Who's up there helping out? Tangles with the defender, and it's a free kick to Wealdstone at the end of all of that. How did Annesley end up in the middle of the area? Centre back up in a 6-yard box.
I mean, it's not the first time we've seen him up there, is it, this season?
But I've noticed that Clampin, he's getting down, he's adding the extra speed down this line, he's turning the defender, but each time on his left foot, he's basically an advert for putting an inverted winger on, because each time they're managing to turn him right and he's going across the field, and at the end of it, just trying to hit a square ball rather than a diagonal ball in.
Yeah, it's difficult when you've got a right-footed left player. It's quite predictable because they're always going to want to cut in, or they never want to drive past a player and then deliver a ball across. So it's hard because it makes it predictable.
The Wealdstone keeper are taking an age to take the free kick. Henry Gray got yellow carded for that in the first half. The home fans asking for the same, but not enough time wasting in the second half, says the referee. He's also given a few cards now. I think he might be a bit more cautious. And Wealdstone come away down the left-hand side. Anthony Giorgio, the left winger for them. Cypriot international, came through the Spurs product. And I didn't see the board go up. Was that 5 minutes of added time? And Wealdstone on the attack in towards Henry Gray, who juggles the ball, loses it. Francis Clark was right there and manages to punt it out into the midfield. A bit of comedy juggling from Henry Gray. That didn't look great. And Braintree come away. 5 minutes of added time. Ryan Clampin over the halfway line. There's got to be an up in momentum here, surely. It's cleared off his head back towards the back line of Braintree. Fifield heads it forward into the midfield area. And the Iron come forward again. Down the right hand side, Pinnington, he's got Cooper outside him, and as Cooper turned one way, Pinnington places the ball in front of him. He can't turn back and keep that in, and that is a softly given away throw in, which Wealdstone will take an age to take, which isn't what Braintree need, because they've got now 4 minutes or so to get something out of this.
I think that sums up Braintree's second half. There's been too many balls where they've overhit and it's gone out, and it's just killed any kind of. Braintree needs to be on the ball, and they needed to get that second goal, and they just didn't get that.
From the throw-in, Wealdstone do lose it. No, they don't. Francis Clark is dispossessed by Craig Eastman. Eastman is away over the halfway line. Alex Reid was running ahead, realised he was in an offside position, checks back, so Redmond goes out to the left-hand side instead. Kretschmar is out there helping. Braintree put 3 players round him, kick the ball off him, and it goes away for a goal kick for Henry Gray.
2 subs.
More substitutions, and I bet they put each one on one by one just to use up as much time as they can. I think the fourth officials board has given up entirely, hasn't it? Baldwin's coming on. To be honest, we're losing track of who's coming on and off because it's the far side. McAvoy possibly coming off. The main one definitely coming on there is Enzio Boldewijn, Dutch player. He was at Notts County for a few years and Sutton United as well, but he is one of those players who, on a good day, is one of those wing backs who can absolutely turn you. He's physical and get in behind the fullback. I think he's going to be in more of a sort of midfield-ish position instead. He's going to come in at a right wing back, as initially expected. Henry Gray then plays it upfield. We're not quite sure who's on for Wealdstone then in this last few seconds, but for Braintree we know exactly who's on. Cooper and Clampin were the 2 substitutes for Lisby and Blackwell respectively. The seconds tick away, and what for an hour or so was such a comfortable night for the Iron is gone off the boil for them in these last few stages. Elsewhere, Woking are in their last few seconds against Solihull. They're 1-0 up, so they will move up in the table. Here come Wealdstone again down the left hand side. Keeper comes out, tackle comes in, it's a corner. One of those ones that's Francis has had to come a long way back, and at the end of that put in a tackle that wasn't a penalty.
He done so well. He tracked the runner and he got it. You have to get your timing spot on, and the Wealdstone player just took a touch that just took it half a yard out of his feet, and he thought, there's my opportunity, and he's managed to slide in. He tracked him probably 45 yards to then side out for a corner, but they're not going to be in any rush to take this corner.
We are in the last knockings. The table, I can tell you, is back where we started for Braintree in 18th, back down below Dagenham and Redbridge on 34 points. Wealdstone move up above the relegation line to 32 points, now just 2 points behind Braintree. After the joy of Forest Green Rovers on Saturday, tonight, if it stays this way, has gone wrong. A draw would work better for Braintree than Wealdstone, but they are running out of time to get that draw. Cooper chases the ball away down the right hand side. The full-back though allows that to just go into touch, shields the ball, and again takes 2 goes to get the ball because we're in no hurry here. Wealdstone seeing out these final seconds. It's frustrating when you're the home side and you're trailing by a goal.
with 10 men.
From the throw-in, Wealdstone hit it into the midfield area. Will Braintree get one more go at this? Thumped by Baldwin all the way down the field to Henry Gray, edge of the area. He puts it back down straight away and thumps it all the way down towards right to left. It's like a tennis match for the moment. Akinde heads it out to Pennington right-hand side, who is dispossessed, and Wealdstone hit it forward again. Alex Reid is on the chase. He's got Francis Clark back with him. He watches Francis Clark come in behind him, waits for the first bit of contact, and curls his arm into Francis Clark and falls over and gets the free kick. That is what, if you're Alan Shearer, you're saying that is really clever striker play. If you're an old-fashioned fan like me, you're saying what a cheat.
I would say it's good old-fashioned number 9. If my number 9 done that, I'd be happy. Really clever play. Took all this thing out of the game.
And it means we are in the final seconds now. And Wealdstone stepping slowly around a free kick at the corner of the Braintree area. And it is frustration for the home fans. They are taking as long as possible. I think they're feigning confusion. Eventually they take it short and play it towards the corner. They overplay it towards the corner. It will be a goal kick for which there is no time to take. One of the most important fixtures of the season for Braintree, as was the reverse at Wealdstone. Both these sides are on the edge of the relegation places. Had Braintree won tonight, they could have been 8 points clear up in 16th. Instead, they're only 2 points ahead of Wealdstone, who themselves move out of the relegation places with basically a last half-hour comeback. Until then, it had looked easy. A little triangle on the edge of the area set up Matt Robinson for his second goal in a Braintree shirt. A left-foot blaster from the edge of the area into the top corner. Jermaine Francis hit the post, and at half-time, Braintree looked all too comfortable. We sort of felt they maybe needed a second. Second half started off the same as the first, Braintree looking the better team, until out of nothing, suddenly Wealdstone managed to get one back in. It was not the greatest of goals. It was a long free kick in, which Henry Gray collected but fell back into his own goal. Did it go over the line? Was he pushed? We're not sure, but the assistant and the referee decided the ball had gone into the net, and suddenly Wealdstone were a different team. They took the lead only 5 minutes later. Fulham lonely defender Josh Grant with a slightly shin shot edge of the area, but enough to put it past Henry Gray. The late sending off of James Veddings for a second bookable offence didn't help Braintree, but basically Wealdstone played the iron at their own game in that last 15-20 minutes or so and managed to come away with the points. April, that's going to be a difficult one to take.
Yeah, it's going to be. It just shows you how the highs and lows of football, to go from beating Forest Green, keeping a clean sheet 2-0, to then losing 2-1 to what is essentially going to be a relegation rival. That, you know, they're going to celebrate at Wealdstone just to our right with their fans, and rightly so. They really did grind out a result against Braintree. They done exactly what Braintree done to them in the first half. They pressed everything, they came out, they changed shape, they used their overloads really well, and Braintree just couldn't find that second goal whilst they needed to. So whilst it was 1-0 to Braintree, they needed to go and get that second goal, and they just couldn't get it.
It is galling looking at the scene in front of us. Hopefully you can pick out in the background, it is exactly 118 Wealdstone fans who are clapping their team as they walk round in front of us. They go along shaking hands. Way to our left, it should be said, the Braintree players are doing exactly the same at the clubhouse end as they usually do. They go along the front and just give high fives and shake hands and sign autographs where they can. They appreciate the support that they get here. It has been, as always, a loud singing support from Braintree. They are a lively lot, but Wealdstone have shown how lively they can be. And they've shown that they have got the fighting spirit. That's 2 wins on the bounce for them. Their new manager, Neil Gibson, is going to look at this and think, right, we have got the new manager bounce on. It doesn't feel like it hurts quite as much as the away game, because at that point, Braintree were in that much of a worse position. You get the feeling this isn't a season killer in quite the same way, but this is very much a missed opportunity.
It is, but I mean, like you said, there's enough opportunity now to go on, and there's still enough games, I believe, to to then go on and, you look at the next 5 games, you've got 10 games at least to then see it. So, there's still opportunity here, and there's still a lot of games to play, especially around that bottom of the table. So there's going to be shocks this time of year.
We hopefully finished tonight saying that Braintree were clear of the relegation zone and the relegation battle. We haven't. They've been dragged right back into the edge of it. Final score here at Cressing Road: Braintree Town 1, Wealdstone 2.